Gear that we started with in the very beginning, the imported set. And we're going to drop the Wanderer set as well, because we're not going to be needing armor right now. So all those are going to get out of the inventory. The reason I'm doing this is to make it more organized, so it's easier to go through the menu. And then just a heads up for everybody in chat that's watching right now on the stream, we will be going over all the alerts from the stream at the very end. So right there, I broke the carriage, I took the torch. We need the torch. It basically gives you the ability to use it in the first place. I think it gives you about 5 minutes or so, 5 minutes of torch time. And then we're gonna light that bonfire in betwixt, and we're gonna just get the straight sword out, or sorry, the short sword, and we're gonna two-hand it and just kind of run for a little bit. Now, in the beginning of this run, I believe we killed a merchant, who is to the left of this area over here. And the reason we need to kill this guy is because his armor set actually gives you a bonus of souls for the entire run. So we want that bonus, which will mean that we can level up a lot quicker. And another reason we dropped our armor earlier is so we can switch that armor on really quickly. So we don't have to wear it all the time. We can stay at a lower equip load, but we can also switch it on really fast in the menu, which you'll see soon. So we're going to light the Majula bonfire. We're going to go over to Mofflin right here, the merchant. And you'll see me kill him with the short sword. So I'm going for 4 hits right here. I'm waiting for my stamina to go back up. And he hasn't gotten up yet, you've noticed. And then I'm going to go for an R2. And then 4 more hits, and he should die. So that was 4 regular hits, an R2 with 2 hands, and then 4 more hits, and he's dead. Pretty easy, and then you get the set. Over here, we're going to get the Homeward Bones on this hill before we go into the little corridor on the way to Dragon Rider.
Let strength be granted so the world might be mended. So the world might be mended.
Anyone, if there's any sounds of alerts on this video, it's because people are subbing on the stream or resubbing for anyone that's watching on YouTube. I'm probably gonna just leave them because it'd probably be a pain to turn off at this point. There's not like one button to turn it off, so you might hear some alert sounds. And I know someone will probably comment on it, but that's why. And we're going to go over all those alerts at the end. So over here, we're just going to pull this chain right here. And I believe when we pull this chain... Oh, okay, never mind. We're just going to wait down here. So you could alternatively get rid of all your armor at this point when you pull the chain, because then when you're waiting for that door to open, you're having to stand still anyways, so it actually makes a really good use of the time to drop all that armor that I did in the beginning right there. So nowadays, that's what I would be doing if I was playing this. I would just be optimizing the time frame a little bit more. We're not going to hit this bonfire over here. We're just going to go straight to Dragon Rider. These guys, they're pretty simple to run by, but sometimes they'll do things that are pretty sketchy, and at this point of the game, your rolls are not really that good. You have pretty low ADP, so you have a low amount of iframes, which are the invulnerability frames in the roll that help you dodge things. So you gotta be a little bit careful, but they're pretty simple. As long as you manage your stamina, you don't run out of it when you're running by them. Stamina in this game is very difficult to manage. So one thing to keep in mind is you always want to have an eye on it, and you always want to make sure you have enough for what you're going to do, because it gets consumed way faster than a lot of the games. The fog gates are also really punishing too. They take a very long time to get to, or get through. So right here on Dragon Rider, what we're going to do at the very beginning is we're going to set up for a quick kill, where we make him fall off the side. Also, this playlist still has ads on it. Oh god. Why is there so many ads, man? It's royalty free. Jesus, man. I'm going to skip the song. There we go. Okay. We're going to set up right here, center of the fog gate, but we take a step back to be flush with the fog gate. And then we take a little bit of a step forward, and we're waiting until he does a certain amount of footsteps. So we're going to actually rewind this a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then he's halfway to stepping for a 7th step. We don't want him to actually do the 7th step. We want 6.5. We're going to run right, and he's going to actually do a thrust attack always, and he'll kill himself. Very easy. Easiest thing you can do in the run. It's not super simple to understand right off the bat. Like, you do have to practice it a little bit. You can fail it. But again, 6.5 steps to that line while you're centered, and then you run a little bit to the right. We're going to put on the armor set after the fight, so you've noticed we swapped it on very quickly. That's why we've cleared the inventory, so we can put it on very fast after we kill the boss. You can keep it on the whole run if you want, but you're going to be a little bit slower because of your roll weight. And right here, we're going to punch Alicia until she gets up after lighting the bonfire. And we're going to get a... you don't have to get a backstab on her, you just want to punch her off this ledge. And then you want to run to this corner right here. She's going to run back up and try to chase you. And you're going to punch her off of the staircase and kill her. Okay, so the thing that you have to watch out for in this is you don't want to waste too much time. If you wait too long in between any of these interactions, she will kill you really quickly. She's very dangerous too, so you have to be quick with the punches. And then we're going to go back to Majula. So I believe here we're going to be going to Shalquire the cat, and we're going to buy some skulls. And we also, yes, we get 10 of those skulls. We get every single skull that she has. That's very important. This is going to be useful for the rest of the entire run. Now, after doing that, we're going to be running to Forest of Fallen Giants. And at this point, again, as you're running through these areas, you can have the armor off if you want to. You don't really need it if you're doing a hitless run. I mean, maybe as you're practicing, keep it on, but when you get to a 0-hit or a 1-hit PB, you can take it off when you're running. So we have all the armor off right here. This is a little bit of a quick sequence of how I'm setting up my stuff. So I put some items on: the Homeward Bone, the skulls, the life gems, and then I pop the Dragon Rider Soul while this door is opening. That's just to make use of time. You can stand still and pop the Dragon Rider Soul later, but having those items on, the life gems, the Homeward Bones, and the skull is very important. Now we're taking this pathway right here on the left-hand side. These guys you can run by pretty easily too. You just have to give a little bit of space, and make sure you're sprinting when you're running by them. Don't jog by them. This guy I roll because he's going for a swing right here when you get to this scenario. So there's a guy that shoots an arrow right here. It's a little bit weird, so we're gonna go back. You'll see he's shooting the arrow, and you'll notice sometimes when he shoots the arrow, it doesn't actually go straight where he's aiming. Sometimes he'll shoot down this side right here where you can see the cursor moving. So just pay attention to where that arrow is. And sometimes you have to fall off that bridge. Right here, you gotta be very quick getting to this ladder or they will catch you. It's not too hard to do once you get used to it, so just run to that ladder immediately. And then you're going to get the skull ready to throw right beside the fog gate here. Gonna throw it to the left of the fog gate. So those guys get aggroed by the skull, and then we're gonna go to the right of the fog gate and try to get in. Right here, this is an interesting scenario right here. So we're gonna bait a guy to do an attack that's gonna miss. We're gonna go right in this corner, and then we're gonna jump back, or roll back, or you can just walk into the corner and run back really quickly. He's gonna do a jump, he's gonna miss, and then you're gonna kind of swivel around him, go this way. Right at these boxes, I roll through them, and then I roll again, or run around this way right here. So you'll see we create a scenario where the guy in the corner that's trying to ambush us, he actually just runs around us. That'll always happen if you do it at the right speed. And then that other guy will run as well. So we're going to try to make a little bit of a gap between them by getting up the stairs very quickly to throw a skull at this wall right here. And what that's going to do is occupy all three of them, including the guy shooting the arrows right here. And then we're going right to the ladder, and then it's 100% safe to go up the ladder. And you're good. Right here, we're going to throw another skull for the guys around the corner because they will actually stop you from lighting the bonfire once these doors are open. So that's very important. We're lighting this bonfire. We're sitting at it. So Melentia, she's going to actually give us some items. This is going to be really important too. So I'm going to actually... Let me see if I can slow down this video really quick, because we're going to buy items very fast. We're going to need some fire bombs. You're going to see me go for the fire bombs. We're going to buy this key as well. This key is going to open the blacksmith door. And we're going to need about 4 fire bombs, I believe. 4, yes, there we go. Okay. And then we're going back to Majula. Now that we have the key for the blacksmith, we open the door, we let him in. So right when you open that door, you just roll away, hit the bonfire. He will be in his shop right after you reset the area. You'll also notice we haven't gotten Estus yet or anything because we didn't need to yet. So that's going to come up in a moment here. Right away, we get the short bow out of this chest right here on the left. It's also very important for the run. We're going to talk to the blacksmith. We're going to be upgrading the rapier a little bit. We're going to be buying the rapier as well to start off. So I'm going to slow this down a tiny bit. So we buy the rapier. We get 1 of them. Make sure you don't buy too many because that could ruin the entire run. There's a very delicate budget you got at this point. You're going to buy all of the iron arrows, all 50. And you're going to buy, I believe, 7 of the titanite shards, the small ones. Those are going to reinforce the bow and the rapier. So you get +3 on the rapier, and then you get +1 on the bow. And you're leaving. Then at that point, we equip the bow and the rapier as we're running over to the Emerald Herald. If you can't menu this fast, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. I put the fire bombs on as well. We get the Estus flask from Emerald Herald right here, and then we level up with her with the rest of the souls we have. And the first stat we're going to be putting in is adaptability. It's very, very good. We need that. So we get 14 right off the bat. We had around 9,000 souls. That brings us down to 1,200. And adaptability in this run is super important because it's going to bring you to the same level of iframes that you'd have on the other Souls games, which will allow you to roll things normally. Whereas when we start off, we're very bad. We don't have the ability to roll things as easily. There's a lot of trouble with that because adaptability actually increases your iframes that you need. So we're going to be going down this ladder right here. We're going to be killing this guy immediately right off the bat. And we're going to be killing this guy as he comes down here too. This dude as well. Switching out to the bow immediately. Make sure you have those arrows equipped as well. We're running up this this pathway. Right at this point, we're going to kind of hide right here in the background. So there is a way to do this aggressively where you don't have to kill this guy at all, but it's not super safe. So this is a very safe run. It's from the Trilogy Hitless run, which means the strats on it are made to be so consistent that I could do it first try every single time. Like, obviously, I'm not going to be able to do that, but it was made to be hyper consistent for the sake that we're doing. This is the second game of the 3 games in a row that we're doing Hitless in one sitting, back to back, no resets. Just, you have to restart from the very beginning. So right there, we killed that dude, we baited out the turtle, we ran around, went up the ladder, dropped off, we throw a firebomb right here. Explodes everything, kills these guys, and then we double back up this this staircase right here. We do grab the life gem and the homeward bone. You don't need to, but I just did because I wanted to. And you can kill these guys pretty easily from this part here. Again, there's way more aggressive ways of doing this. If you watch the SL1 trilogy, you'll see basically the whole game for the first bit of it without the bow at all, and how to do this whole area without that. So I'll make sure I link that video in the description in case you want some different strats. And we're gonna be going over here, grabbing the fire arrows because we need that for later. I was having trouble grabbing them there apparently. Now, because those guys are dead, you can open the door safely. This is very important for later if Forlorn invades you, which we'll talk about at the end. And then we're gonna be going down this lift here. Now there's an enemy that has an S-stock in this hallway. He's very dangerous if you don't kill him right away. So we're gonna be in this, along this wall right here. We're gonna shoot him in the head if we can. And I believe we have to shoot him one more time. So 2 in the head will do the job with a +1 short bow. We're gonna switch back out to the rapier here. For the last giant, he's pretty simple. There is a method to distribute the hits properly, so you can kill him pretty quick. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on the right leg, strafe away or roll. And then we're gonna make him turn around again. We want him to do the sweep attack. This sweep attack that he's doing right here is very important. Every time he does that, you can punish accordingly. So we do 3 hits on the right leg. The second time we don't do the 4, we only go for 3. Gonna back up again, and the reason we don't do that is because he's not gonna rip his arm off until we do 8 hits precisely, so we're waiting until we get more stamina back, and then he does another good attack. This is super rare, so you don't want to actually be behind him when he falls down like this, because the back of his feet can still kill you or hit you. So just try to stay away if he ever falls over, but you're always trying to bait that one attack. This is good enough, so we're just gonna go in for it, and then he's gonna get back up and rip his arm off. And we're gonna go in, we're gonna do some more. And we basically killed him there on account of him falling over a little bit quicker in terms of his arm ripping off and everything. But normally you'd want to bait out the arm attack, the sweeping one. We switch our armor back on after every single boss we kill. Again, you can have it on if it makes it easier for you if you can't do it that quickly. And in this lift, I believe we're gonna pop another soul. I'm not sure if I do that here. Let's see, did I do that already?
Hi Squilla, hope you are good and get that WR soon.
So no, I didn't pop the soul yet in this lift, but normally you would do that. All right, so we're just kind of cruising through here. All the enemies are dead now because we've killed the guys guarding the door, so it's pretty safe. And we're going to go to Pursuer. Now, this guy right here, it's smart to bait an attack from him like this. So he did like a little bit of a 2-piece attack, and then I use R2s to kill him. I don't use R1s because I want to stagger him. With the R1s, there's a chance that he'll still hit you. It can be very annoying. Like this ad that popped up on this YouTube playlist that we're listening to right now. No one cares, Coach Co. Thanks, man. Jeez. I don't get how this playlist has so many ads on it. Jesus. There we go. We're going up this this other staircase. We're baiting out the other Royal Knight right here. Same enemy as the one we killed before. Same thing, we back away immediately. We let them do 2 swings. Sometimes they'll do something different. Just make sure they're not attacking. And they've stopped. Then we pull the bow out. We kill this guy with the bow over here. And we duck behind the wall because he's going to shoot arrows at us back and forth if we can't kill him very quick. We run right to the fog gate. And then over here, we're gonna set up, wait a second, let me go back on this. So we're gonna set up right at this barrel and this carriage right here. We're gonna wait for Pursuer to do his dash attack. That's what he starts with every time if you are at this distance. And then you're gonna roll. And as long as you're very fast getting to this ballista here and you pivot and you hit the A button immediately, you will be able to kill him on the spot right here. Another really, really simple fight. It's honestly just the maneuver of doing that. So I'm gonna show you again. Just running up to this carriage, waiting at the barrel, rolling, sprinting, turning A, and then just spam it as fast as you possibly can and he will die. We're gonna switch on that armor again. And then we're waiting for the Ring of Blades to pop up so we can put that on before we go to the next area because we want that damage. That ring's very good for this run. Sometimes it's common to forget it for this next area, and then you end up not having enough damage to kill something and you wonder why you're doing different damage. So, because I've had that problem a lot, I would recommend just checking to see right when Pursuer is dead. So now we're in the Bastille. Gonna open this chest right here and get, I believe, the Ember for the Blacksmith. The Dull Ember, there we go. Just gonna light this bonfire as well. Now in the Bastille, the goal is to get our weapon to +6, I believe. Because in Scholar the First Sin, you can get your weapon to +6 pretty early. So it looks like I was reading chat here as stalling or something. Let's speed this up a little bit. Okay, so I realized there was something else I needed to do first. So from here, I'm going to Malentia to get her to go back to Majula. So when you spend a certain amount of money at Malentia, she'll actually go back to Majula and she'll give you a Silver Serpent Ring. So I think what I'm doing right here is I'm getting some bright bugs. Or am I confused? I might be confused. Let's see. Yeah, I get 2 bright bugs. Okay. That's 12,000 souls to get the 2 bright bugs. Then she gave us the Covenant, or the Covetous Silver Serpent Ring +1. After she gives you that ring and you've spent over 10k at her, getting those consecutive bright bugs, she'll go back to Majula. You just have to keep talking to her until she repeats the dialogue that she'll see you in Majula, basically. And then she'll go over there. Now we're going to get her to go over there. So you'll see she popped up. From this point, I am going back to the blacksmith again. We're gonna reinforce, I guess, or are we buying more regular shards? Yeah, we're buying more regular shards, I think. Oh, maybe not. No, I think we're going back. So yeah, in this run, I was playing it a little bit safe. I think I was just kind of like seeing what I could do to get prepared for this area. So we're gonna actually level up endurance. That's what it is. There we go. So 10 endurance and 20 strength at this point. Or wait. Yeah, I'm taking my time on this run. This run's definitely not super fluid because like I had just no-hit DS1 right before this, then went right into this. So my brain's probably just like not working properly. And I'm probably reading chat too. So we're gonna put adaptability to, let's see, 24. Okay, so 24 adaptability is pretty solid. We're gonna keep our endurance at 10. And that's it. So adaptability to 24 and endurance at 10. We're gonna pop the Soul of the Pursuer that we should have popped earlier. But I think I'm gonna be doing that in the next area now. So we'll see where we end up. I'm a little bit out of order on this run. Usually I'd be a bit more quick, so we would have already been on our way to the Scorpion, but I took my time. I went back to check and see if I could get any more upgrades for the weapon. I guess I was confused. Now we're back over here. We got that extra endurance and adaptability. That's good. We put on the Silver Serpent Ring that we got from Malentia so we can get some more souls, and then we're going to equip the bow and kill this guy right here. So he's not a problem later on when we go through that area. And you're pretty safe if you do that. The one thing that he does, he has like these really weird movements where sometimes he'll strafe the arrows, so I've gotten really used to where he's going to move. And you'll even hit him sometimes and the arrow will go right through him because of his cape, so you have to be a bit careful because you don't want to waste too many. And then you're going to switch back to the rapier. Right here we're going to grab a large Titanite shard on this ledge and a Radiant Life Gem. And then we're going to dip in through this window here. We're going to kill this guy with R2s again, our R2 attacks. We're going to push the barrel to the side here. We're going to duck back. Now what this barrel does is it explodes the dogs below, but I'm going to actually rewind that because this part's actually, it can get you killed, so you have to be very careful with how you do this. The barrel, you don't want to push on any angle other than what I did right there. You don't want to push it completely horizontally. You want it to be slightly diagonal, so it's sort of in front of where you're going to end up backing up into, because the explosion will just miss you if you do it this way. And then we're going to roll immediately into the corner, so we can just kind of get out of the way of that. Now, the dogs aren't always all dead, so you're going to want to check to see 3 health bars when the explosion happens. If you only see 2, then you're going to want to wait. There'll be a dog below, and you can kill him with arrows if you need to. But just be very careful that the dogs are all dead. We're going to open this door. Also, the one dog's foot moves like a clock or something. It's kind of stupid, so it makes it look like it's alive. So we run to the chest, we don't open it, then we go back, and then we pop these souls right here to make Pursuer despawn. Then we don't have to fight him. That's a lot safer. And once he despawns from us doing that, he won't actually pop back up again. And then we're going to pick up the contents of this chest right here. We got a fragrant branch of yore from that and some other items. Fragrant branch of yore is really the important thing there. We're going to need that to unpetrify some statues. And then we're just heading through here. I believe Squillakilla is here, I think. Is that Squillakilla? We're going to open up this chest as well. Grab the item, and then we're going to go around here, up this ladder. And up on this ledge here, there's going to be more large titanite. It's very important in getting our weapon to +6. Then we're going to put the fire arrows on our bow. We're going to use a fire arrow to blow this guy off the bridge. So this is actually another thing that's like a time-sensitive event, so you're going to have to wait for him to be in a certain spot. You don't want him to be beside the barrel, you want him to be like in front of it, so the explosion knocks him off of the break in the bridge. You can't really see it that well from this angle, so we're gonna make it slow so you can see where he's walking. When he's just about to be at the first step of the mini staircase right there, you're gonna shoot the barrel and he's gonna actually just get blown sideways off the thing. You can also do it when he's coming back towards you as well. It's a little bit easier to see where his feet are then. But you see where I am right here? You want him to be in this spot when you shoot the barrel, like right there. We're going to be breaking these barrels. The reason being, if Forlorn invades, we don't want him to hit the barrel and explode us. So we just want to make sure that we're safe for if Forlorn invades here. We're going to get the gold pine resin. And then we're waiting a sec. So Forlorn didn't invade. If he does invade on this run, what you want to do is run back to that ladder that was on the that little ledge that I ran up to get the large titanite shard in the tower. And you're going to want to get him to go up the ladder, and then then drop off and go back beside him. And when he drops off the ladder to go back on the ledge, you do a guard break and you can knock him right off the ledge. It's really easy. It's the best thing to do if he invades you, but we don't get to see that here because it's just a random chance, right? So we're going to be shooting this guy a little bit, getting his health down, baiting out an attack, and then R2s to keep him staggered. Right here, we run into the barrel to push it down the stairs. I like to go slightly left on the barrel, and you should get it to explode the wall right here. If it hits the wall and it doesn't explode, you can shoot it with a fire arrow to blow it up or use a firebomb. Now these dogs, I kind of screwed this part up a little bit. I didn't kill them as quickly as I should have, so they're going to be chasing me. If anything happens right here that goes wrong with the dogs, you just always run back. They have a maximum range of which they can actually follow you, so they're actually pretty safe. It's no big deal. You just got to be really quick getting away from them, and then you're fine. You can still take them out from there if you need to. So it's a good example of a bad case scenario, but normally you would just sneak around the corner, and you would you'd shoot the first one that you see peeking out, and then you'd shoot the second one. And sometimes if the barrel goes down and doesn't blow up and you blow the barrel up, it'll blow up one of the dogs too, so it's pretty easy. Then you're going to light the bonfire right here. And there's a bunch of chests in this room. There's some we don't need though, so we're only going to be grabbing certain things. This one on the bottom right, large titanite shard. This one to the left is a regular titanite shard. And then I believe this is crossbow bolts, or arrows, sorry, arrows. Here we go. So we want the iron arrow from that chest, but we leave the other one full. We're going to talk to McDuff. We're going to give him his ember, and then we're going to be buying 5 large titanite shards. We're going to be upgrading the rapier to +6, and we're going to get the short bow to, I believe, +4? Or +5, sorry, +5. And then we're going to be buying, let's see. I bought 62 arrows, so as many iron arrows left with the rest of the souls that I had as I could. That's as many arrows as you can with the rest of the souls. I had 1,800 left at that point. So you should have a +6 rapier and a +5 bow by this point with what we did. And that is how to get a pretty good weapon pretty early. And now we are heading to Scorpioness, I believe. And here there's going to be a person that we have to unpetrify as well. We pick up the items right there. Then we're going to unpetrify this statue with a fragrant branch of yore that we picked up. Going to pull this lever. When you pull this lever, there's a bunch of these guys that come out of all these doors to try to ambush you. You're going to throw an alluring skull across the entire room to the far side, right at that door. They're going to go towards the skull. You're going to wait a little bit. You're going to throw one more skull after the other one dies, and then you're going to immediately shoot this guy as you see him from the door opening, or alternatively, if you want to, you could do a jumping attack with the rapier. So that would be forward and R2 at the same time. It's a little bit harder to do the input for that, but for some reason, the jumping attack will go through the door and hit him and kill him in one hit. That works really well too, as long as you can pull off the input. If you can't, then use the bow. Make sure that you realize, though, that the door has an invisible barrier where you can't actually hit him just because you can see his hand, so you have to let it lift up quite a bit first, but you don't want to wait too long. And then this guy right here, we're just going to kind of run around him. We're going to throw a skull at the wall for these guys and the guy behind us, and then we're going to run. We're going to sit at this bonfire, the Fork in the Road bonfire. We're going to be coming back here later in the game for a couple things. And before we actually keep progressing, we're going to take a little bit of a side path over here to get the red tearstone ring from this hippo. So these little kobold dogs, you can kill them in one hit with an arrow, usually, if you hit them in the head. Later on, you'll be able to kill them in one hit regardless, but the bow's +5, so it should be pretty decent. And they usually don't attack you, but they can, though. There's a very small chance they can, so just get rid of them. Here is a really interesting event. This is probably going to be one of the harder things to do at this point of the run right now, because sometimes rolling this guy's attacks a little bit iffy, like they're a little bit crazy. So the way to know that you're doing this right is to just run full speed from the corner here. Just be in a full sprint along the wall. And then you're going to want to roll as he's swinging, and it looks like he can hit you here, but it's just the way the camera is. He's actually not going to be able to hit, so I roll twice anyways, but he can actually hit me here after this first roll. He's going to miss you every time because he's just not actually close enough. It just looks like he's close. So you can keep sprinting after that if you want to, and then we're going to drop down as quick as we can, get this item in Homeward Bone, because he's going to try to kill us again. Usually he'll do this kind of sidestep thing when he gets to the tree or gets stuck, so it's pretty safe. And then we're going to be continuing through the main progression of this pathway right here. We're getting to the foggy forest. So this part's interesting too. There's a mechanic where the trees actually make sound when you shoot them. That's to alert the enemies that are ghosts so they get distracted and they don't go after you. The pathway through here is a little complicated, and it was just made more complicated because on this run I got invaded by Forlorn. So what we're trying to do here, the first time we're going through again, is we're shooting this tree that you can see lined up in the center of the forest, this big one. Those are the ones that make the noise that alert the enemies. And then we're going to go a little bit to the right. We're going to keep running until we find this tree right here, this next big one. And I'm going to try to hit it with the rapier. I missed, so I have to hit it again. Forlorn invaded, which means we have to keep moving now. And once you get to this little area with this tree and the wall, you run around this one and you just keep going straight. And you'll make it to the bonfire. But because Forlorn's invaded, I got to get him out of my game. The only way to get Forlorn to leave is to go through a boss fog gate and then Homeward Bone or kill him. So here, right quick, we're going to get the bonfire.
Let strength be granted so the world might be mended, So the world might be
Reason
mended.
being, we're going to want to respawn there after
For
we
some
homeward bone.
reason this has come up a few days late anyway. Keep up the good work entertaining folks in these odd times.
Let strength be granted so the
And we're going to be
world
running
might be
to
mended.
Scorpioness right now really
So the
quickly. Because
world
Forlorn
might
is
be
actually
mended.
chasing us. I don't know if you'll be able to see him. I might
What
look
run
back.
are you planning, Squill?
So we're going to be going over through here. And if you have a good pace, like honestly, don't light the bonfire, or light the bonfire and try to do a loop around and fall through the staircase if he's right behind you, so you can get him caught. But he should have a fair distance away from you. Should have quite a lead on him. Now, when you homeward bone on this boss, if Forlorn ever invades, you actually want to wait. You want to wait for that to happen right there, because she'll shoot you as you're homeward boning. So we run to this little piece of cement here, and then we do that to be safe. Normally, again, Forlorn probably wouldn't invade, so you'd be fine. But that's just to get him to get out of the game. So now we're back at this bonfire. We can go back to the area we were in before to keep doing what we were doing, which is getting the Chloranthy ring. And from the standpoint of Forlorn not invading, we would probably hit that bonfire anyways. And then we'd come back as we did right here. We'd shoot this tree, like we are now. And then we would switch back to the rapier. Or I guess you don't really have to. It doesn't matter. You're running around this hill right here up to this chest. Because you've hit that tree with the arrow when you popped out of the bonfire area, the enemies that are ghosts will go to the tree and they should not follow you. And then you can homeward bone again from here if you want to. I believe before we go to the boss, we're going to be putting on the Chloranthy ring. We're going to be putting on Red Tearstone ring and setting up our health to activate Red Tearstone ring. If you've never used it before, it's only active when you have a very low amount of health, and it boosts your damage by 20% in this game. So we're running off this ledge right here to get the damage to be just enough to get that Red Tearstone ring. You'll know when the character's red. And you'll see that little emblem pop up too. So now we're in like a higher output of damage mode. And we're going back to the boss. Before we actually stop there, I believe there's a Titanite chunk that we got to grab on this bridge. I'm going to circle around to the right here. Or apparently not. I guess I'm going to skip it. So maybe in this run, I made the mistake and I have to go back and get it later. We'll see. There might be something else I did at this point, because you can do this run a few different ways. Like, these strats are not the only strats to do it. They're not necessarily the best for everybody, but they're the way that I did it and what I would recommend at the time. So we'll see if I go back there later. So I'm going to get the Bright Bug for this fight, which gives us even more damage. We have 2 of those right now. Now we have 1 from using the first that we had. I'm going to strafe that Soul Spear, and we're going to hit her in the head twice if we can with R1s before rolling away. She's going to pop out of the ground. You want to make sure you're further back away from her so you don't get hit by her emerging. And on this, every single time you get into an engagement with this boss, you want to hit the tail to make her do a tail attack. It's not guaranteed which one she'll do or if she'll just turn around either way, but it increases the chance of her doing that. And as she's doing the swipes like that, you just stay along the midsection of her body, no matter if it's her swiping the way she is there or swiping the opposite way. She can do both. And we have such a high damage output, we just killed her right there really quickly. Now I'm going to again link the SL1 trilogy example from DS2. So same trilogy run, just with no levels on the character, and it'll have a lot longer of fights and better examples of what to do when the fight plays out a lot longer. So I recommend checking that out for any fight on this that breezes by really quickly, because we are doing crazy damage on this at this point. And she is pretty simple too. So now we're in this area right here. We're going to be running by the Gurm Warrior. Just want to keep a pretty good pace. That Mastodon and the Gurm Warrior don't get us. And then this guy in the doorway is going to throw an axe at us. We just got to strafe that. It's pretty easy. He has very bad aim. And he's surprisingly throws axes so slow that it doesn't even seem possible. So he's a magician. And we're going to R2 him twice. He's dead. Switch out to the bow immediately for this Crystal Lizard up here. This Crystal Lizard is very sneaky, so it'll get away very fast if you don't do this right. You're going to want to shoot it when you're on peeking over the hill from a distance. You don't want it to start moving before you shoot it. So you want it to be still. And then it's going to move as soon as you hit it the first time. You're going to want to shoot it again, and you're going to want to shoot it a third time. To do this, you're going to want to kind of slightly move the crosshair over as it's running. If you do miss it, it's not the end of the world. You can always go back, but I would say try to get it if you can. Now, if you have another weapon on this run, if you're doing it with the mace instead of the rapier, you can just run up and hit it, but the rapier will miss the crystal lizard a lot of the time. It's a very, very sneaky lizard. It's hard to get. And we're going to be hitting the campfire, or the campsite bonfire over here. Switching to the learning skulls for the peasants over here. This first boulder just rolls down if you walk up to this guy and run away. Pretty simple. And then for these guys, we like to run right up to them and then run away to get them in a group. They'll usually attack and slow themselves down, and then we can get a domino effect where we just kind of, or we kind of kill them all out at once with the boulder. Any of them that are left over, we take out with the bow. So right here, I'm going to be throwing a skull and running around them. Now, if you wanted to kill them with the bow, you could. We have so many skulls left that we are just going to throw them to get these guys out of the way so we can be very quick here. Throwing another one at the wall so we can open the door safely, and then that's a much easier way if you want to be fast. Again, you could kill those 3 guys outside that door with the bow pretty simply. And then we're going to Prowling Magus and Congregation. That is a pretty simple fight. You just have to be a little careful with what you're doing. You always want to be moving. You always want to be putting an object between you and them if you can, as the benches that are in the church are still like stable and not broken. So we're going to be using a gold resin here, and I believe a bright bug as well. Right off the bat on this fight, we go in. We're running on the right side of the group right here. We're going around this bench. We're coming around again, and we're going to kill the congregation that was on the left side, or I guess our right, once we circle around. Now we're still baiting attacks. These small guys right here make it really difficult to navigate this part because they'll just smack you if you aren't careful. So if you're going to take one out, be very careful. Make sure neither of the other 2 guys are attacking at any time. Anytime you make a decision, you always want to check and see. And because I'm hanging in this area, if they do anything, mainly Congregation with his lightning bolts, you'll see he actually hits the benches instead. But because Magus is actually really tall, he can shoot over them. And we're basically just taking these guys out one by one. We have enough damage to one-shot them, so it's pretty simple. When you pass by Magus, the purple guy, he'll sometimes actually do an AoE that will catch you. So you want to be very fast. You want to be sprinting when you're going by him in case he does that. Right here, he's just throwing projectiles. Now that we've got a separation that's pretty big, we can 2-shot him with R2s because we have so much damage on this. And then Congregation's still left. I'm still trying to play it safe by getting these guys to get out of the way. And we're just going to line up behind benches just to have that extra layer of safety so we don't have to commit to dodging the lightning. I go for 1 attack because if I went for 2, that guy that was small could have hit me because he's very close. So you want to always kind of think 1 step ahead on this fight of what would happen if you make the decision that you're thinking of, just in case. Because it is a lot of enemies, even though they are relatively easy. But there's some weird things that can happen sometimes. So Congregation's dead. These last guys you just take out with the bow if you want to, or the rapier. I'm just kind of doing it quickly. And there's a little trick for the guys on the floor. If you want to use your rapier to do it instead of the bow, you can do a jump attack, and it will hit them. Introducing the Corolla family, including hatch. So we're just shooting the guys on the floor to keep it simple. And we're also, you'll see we're lining up by the door, and immediately, as soon as this guy's dead, I open my menu and I put all the gear on again to get those bonuses. And I'm going to heal because once I drop down this ladder, I'll die if I don't have full health. So we want to make sure that we're healed after this part if we want to be quick. Just so you don't die on the ladder. We get the bonfire ascetic over here in this upper area, then we fall down. We have enough health left. And then we're going to light this bonfire right here. So we're kind of dipping back into prepping everything for later in the game on this area now by getting some more materials. So we're going to actually get the torch going on this part, which we'll see in a moment. Reason being, the spiders that are in this part, they will actually kill you if you don't have the torch. They'll basically not want to even go near you if you have the torch active. And this is actually just like it's kind of like a contingency in case Forlorn invades. Like, it's not actually going to help us normally, but if he invades, you're going to have to go to Freya to get him to despawn by going through the fog gate and homeward boning. You're not going to see that on this. I don't think he did invade here. It's pretty rare, actually, but once in a while he will do that. So we're going to be going through here. We get the charcoal pine resin from that vase right there. And we're knocking this guy off the ledge. We're not killing him. We're just booping him off, grabbing the chunk. Don't worry about this crystal lizard at all. It's not really important. And then we're running straight through here onto this bridge. Gonna throw a skull in the back corner, either in the spikes or just on that ledge. Grab the item that's closest to the bridge, which has a variety of upgrade materials. Break those boxes, circle back around, and then get the homeward bone as quick as possible. Always watch to see if these guys are behind you, because sometimes they're very fast and they'll kill you as you homeward bone. So that was a really simple iteration of that. And now we should be making, I don't know if we're making a second trip here. I think we would be. Let's check. Let's see. Let's wait and see what I do. Okay, so I'm leaving this place right now. We're going back to Majula. So I think at this point I'm getting another... Oh, I was just checking to see, I guess, the inventory on Valencia. So I have to pop this Scorpion Soul right here. And I think we're going to level up a little bit. I'm going to be putting in a lot of dex now. So we should have 12 endurance. What was that? Let's see. 24 dex and 12 endurance. 24 adaptability as well. Those are the only stats we've touched so far. And then we are going to McDuff, I believe, and we're going to upgrade the rapier a little bit as well. So rapier is +8, bow is +7. And we should be pretty solid for a while now. Apparently there's one other thing I'm doing here. Maybe arrows? Keep in mind, this is from a stream, so like I am reading chat and just kind of all over the place while I'm doing this, trying to keep it together. And I'm also trying to pace it really well, because this is a big run that we're doing. It's a 6 to 7 hour run of no mistakes, really. So we're going for 230 arrows there. Again, the exact number you get of those doesn't really matter. You want at least 200, I would say. I just get extra in case, because the levels aren't really important yet. Like, we don't have to worry too much about the budget until later. We're gonna get a lot more souls in the next bit. Now we're going back to Betwixt. I believe that's to get the stone ring. Now the stone ring for this next area, there's an enemy that will actually not stagger sometimes that easily without having the stone ring, and I'll point it out when it happens. But it'll just ensure that on the first heavy attack you do get a stagger. And there's a really crazy moment where a guy drops down from his ceiling very quickly. You got to be very fast at not trading with him, but hitting him first. He's pretty dangerous. So this hippo right here, we just kill with arrows. It's pretty simple. Apparently I'm spinning around. So we're shooting the hippo with arrows right here. And then basically the hippo dies. Pretty simple. We pick up the stone ring from him, and then we also get this lightning resin in the bush. And I believe we homeward bone from here. Okay. And at this point we are going to... hides Tower of Flame. So we're on our way to Flexile. And this part, there's not a lot of action that happens for the next few seconds here, so we're just going to kind of skip ahead. This area, you just go down the stairs, basically. There's nothing you have to pick up here. And we're going to get to this part where there's the first enemy right here. This guy, you just want to run to the doorway as quick as you can. You got to roll at the last second when he slams his sword. Sometimes he doesn't actually connect it with the doorway, but you just want to be ready to roll at the last moment. And then you will be good, but a lot of the time he actually won't get you in the doorway. Gonna hit this button to go down the lift. Again, we're just gonna be waiting here, so I'm gonna skip ahead. In this part, you just want to be pretty fast. There is an enemy that actually does get up and chase you, but we don't kill him, I don't believe. I might make an exception on this run, but I'm pretty sure we just pass him. Let's see. Yeah, so he actually just got up in the water. He's chasing us right now. If we get to the bonfire quick enough, he won't even be able to get close, and he'll be reset. So we just race to the bonfire very fast. We're lighting it. This area is interesting. This is where we're going to also need the torch because there are enemies that are special that don't like the torch fire. So before that, we have to actually clear out some enemies to be able to go through safely. There's a guy in the distance that will snipe you across the map, so we're going to knock him off of the ledge here. We kill him so fast that he doesn't even fall off. Sometimes he'll fall off before you kill him, and then you have to kind of shoot him in the head as he's poking over. This guy laying down is an ambush. You can knock him into the water or kill him right there. There is a dog and this other Varangian soldier on the top of this building. He'll shoot arrows too. You want to strafe them in between. But we're killing him so fast that it's not really a problem at the moment. There's the dog. And then we're going to double back to get the torch set up for the run through. Oh wait, there's this one last guy here too. So I have a predictive shot that I do here. This you're probably not going to be able to do this unless you practice the shit out of it. It's not going to work the same way every time either, depending on exactly where you're placed. But you can sometimes predict like and just shoot ahead. A little bit fancy, but I would just say wait for him to get closer to you and then shoot him the second time to be safe. And that will work just fine. Now, we're not actually sitting at the bonfire this time. We're using the torch only. So we just press the Y button or the triangle button. Get the torch ready. You don't want to reset the area because we just set it up to run through. Now we have the torch in the left hand, rapier in the right. And we're just going to be running up the staircase. We're going to throw a skull here too. Once we get up this first staircase, right at the right wall, so this guy crosses over and doesn't get us. The other enemies will kind of turn and go towards there too. This dog will miss us if we just are quick and we roll. And then we run up here. These guys can't do anything if you have the torch because they hate the torchlight. Now on this part, you're going to want to be careful with how you actually go down here. See how I got a lot of momentum there and it was a little bit wonky looking? This game has some weird mechanics where when you're on a ledge and you do something, like you can see I didn't push a button or anything to do that, but it gave me like extra momentum, and it can actually make you miss the ledge and you can get screwed. And then there's no way to escape the area because there is enemies down there that will kill you before you can homeward bone. So you really want to make sure you're careful on this and that you land right here. We're talking to Gavilan. I believe we're going to be buying some poison arrows, so all 20 of the poison arrows for later in the game. We're selling off the weapons that were the starting class weapons, the short sword and the scimitar. We're going to be pulling this lever here, switching out to the bow to kill this guy. He's pretty harmless if you shoot him quickly, and the other guy doesn't actually have a weapon. He just throws, or he doesn't have a weapon to use if you're at a distance. He'll throw, I think like the water urns at you, so you can kill him pretty easily too. Gonna put on the Silver Serpent Ring +2 because apparently I didn't have that. But you should have that on as soon as you get it. Now we're going to kill that guy down there. He will also shoot arrows at you most of the time, so sometimes you're going to have to be a little bit more passive and be careful. We shoot the bell from a distance here to get the boat to actually arrive at the port instead of going all the way up to it. So you don't actually get to see it hitting the bell because I'm kind of just dipping out. I know that it already worked, but you'll hear the sound. Make sure you see the bell moving. And then we are getting some lightning pine resin on the character.
Granted, so the world might be mended. So the world might be mended.
Hope you're doing well. Have a good one.
You can see the boat arriving here. And we're going to wait until it actually gets there. The reason for that would be the gate would be locked, or the boat wouldn't be there. Yes, there's enemies that are going to chase you. You have to be very fast here. You cannot wait. You have to just consistently make it in there. So now that it's arrived, the gate's open. There's no slowdown. You have that lightning pine resin ready. And it helps to double check behind you just to make sure that you're doing it. But if you've been as fast as I have right here, you're not going to have anyone catch up. They'll be at the staircase by the time you actually get through the fog gate. And now we're doing Flexile Sentry. So the trick with this guy is you only want to have him on the side where he has the clubs. You don't want to be fighting the sword side. So always keep him facing you with the club side if you can. He'll do these like 1-2 slams, or he'll do like a 1-2 slam with a poke follow-up. And you'll see I wait for it. He doesn't do it at all here. If you see him kind of hanging just in, you know, like on that attack right there, just doing nothing, then he's not going to follow it up. So you always wait to make sure. He'll also do a horizontal sweeping attack right here. Maybe you'll see it. There you go. And he'll do an overhead slam. Gonna back up there. And then from a distance, he'll also do like a giant running up attack. You'll probably see that on the SL1 version of the run, which I'll link again in the description. It's another boss we killed very fast, but there's some other examples for all the scenarios you might see on that. He's not really too complicated though. The thing with this game is it's not really that the enemies are super complicated until you get to the really hard stuff. It's more so just it's actually really hard to control the character a lot of the time. That's the biggest difficulty I have with GS2. It's very weird to control. And there's a lot of enemies as well, so you have to be very tactical rather than just aggressive on it. So we put on our armor to get the souls. We went upstairs. We got the ship to go to the next location. Now we're in this lift here. And we're going to be out of the lift. We're going to get the bonfire on the left side before we continue through here. Now, another piece of information, if Forlorn invades you in this area, you want to actually back up all the way to where you came from, where the lift was. And there's an invisible barrier where he can't pass. I only figured that out not too long ago, but it's actually really, really useful. So don't let him fall down. Make sure he chases you across this bridge and run all the way back, and just shoot him from the very, very back of that hallway. When you'll notice he'll keep backing up and he won't be able to actually reach you. So we're going to take out this first royal soldier across the stretch, and there's another one right here. Make sure that he doesn't shoot a barrel behind you or it'll explode, and that's rip. So you want to be pretty fast on that. But if he does start shooting, just make sure you're noticing where his arrows go. We're dropping down this area right here with full health. Sometimes it won't get you red tier stone ring right away, so you have to be a bit careful. But I think we dropped down another time anyway, so we're going to get it from this part. So I'm waiting here for a second. When we drop down this next ledge, we're going to get the red tier stone set up for the area. And the idea here is that we are walking off diagonally. We're rolling, and then we're doing a rolling attack sideways to the right, and then rolling again very fast so we don't get hit. You want to have it as a fluid motion like that, because there's guys shooting you right outside. You can see him right there. There's another one across the stretch too, so you want to be very fast breaking that wood right there. These guys you typically don't actually need to kill, but if Forlorn invades you right in this spot in the lower area, then you do want them dead so you can maneuver around him safely. So I do take out the one guy, and then we let this dude explode. So we go to the wall to get him to do his attack, back away, and then we go in and we get him before he gets us. Open the door. These dogs are going to try to get us and funnel through here, so we're just going to be trying to shoot them with fire arrows particularly. It's going to one-shot them. And at this point, again, it really helps to have Stone Ring on. I think I do have it on the character. I think I've put it on already before we actually went to this area. This is the guy right here we need Stone Ring for. It helps a lot. So we're running up to him. We're gonna get stamina right before he actually is queued to fall, which is about the mid room. So we don't actually run just straight in. We have to wait and conserve a little bit of stamina here. Then we're going to get a bit more. He's going to fall. Start sprinting as soon as he falls. Do a running R1 and then a follow-up R1, and he should be fine. But yeah, it does get a little bit scary because he can attack you very quick. Now we're taking this cage up here. So on this part, we have to make sure we're healed. I have killed myself quite a lot right here, and we have to make sure we have homeward bones as well, so we can warp out of here. We run off that ledge, and we just run right into the wall and get the bonfire ascetic. I'd recommend not rolling or jumping, just literally run right off the ledge, straight to the wall, and you'll be good. Now that we've done that, we're ready to do Rotten 4, which is the most boring part of the run. The areas leading up are pretty annoying too, but because Rotten's killed 4 times, you can imagine it's not really too eventful. I will try to give all the information I can for the differences between each time you go back. Basically, he just gets stronger. So we're gonna get this homeward, or the bright bug right there, and then 21 fire bombs if we can. We're just trying to get a decent amount. You can get more if you need more, but I would say make sure you have enough left over for the cat ring that we're going to buy, because I believe that's 17,000 or so. Let me see. Or, sorry, 13,000. Yeah, so we need the cat ring. We need 10 more homeward bones. We only buy 7 apparently because we have 4 left, so that makes 11. Or, because we used the other one, we had 3, so it makes 10. We put the cat ring on right here, and we take all of our other stuff off. Every single thing on the character is gone except for the cat ring. This is very important because we won't live if we don't do that, because the cat ring reduces fall damage, but not completely removes it. So we have just a little bit of health left here. We're going to be using life gems and Estus as we go down these sections in the well. And we'll be picking up some items, potentially. Oh, maybe not, because we have a lot of life gems, but there is a life gem that you can pick up right away. This part's interesting. So you don't actually want to jump or roll or anything. You're actually going to want to just sprint along the wall and then turn off to the right really quickly. Like I said, in this game, the movement's actually really difficult. So sometimes like the game will do things you don't actually want it to do. So you got to be kind of careful with this part. You're just going to walk off along the wall again and drop straight down on that part. Not to get too much momentum to get pushed over or anything, but just enough to fall straight down. And then when we get to this latter part, there's one more drop that's a little tricky. So, sorry, I'm just trying to fix the playlist. There we go. Too many ads on this YouTube playlist. This one is kind of a similar situation again, where we run along the wall. This is the safest way I've found to do this. And it makes you land just where you need to. And you drop off here. On this part, try to be careful to not land on the archway. Just drop short of that archway so you're not on that upper ledge, because you could run off of that and then die still. We're going to put all of our rings back on. So Chloranthy, Ring of Blades, Silver Serpent +1, and then we still have the cat ring on for the damage. I think I do switch the Silver Serpent ring for the stone ring though right there. Let me double check that. Let's see. Yeah, we switched Silver Serpent for stone ring right there. Gonna shoot this crystal lizard. And again, it's gonna try to escape as soon as it gets hit, so just be careful. Try to lead the shot a bit if you need to. That one's not super essential. Like, you can miss it and it's fine. It doesn't really matter too much. Gonna run by this guy. He's gonna jump. He's gonna explode. You don't actually want to hit them, and you don't want to be slow when you're running by them. You want to kind of just swivel around them very fast. So make sure you have stamina for that. So again, swivel, swivel. If you run really straight after that, even just kind of throw in another roll after they're past you, they shouldn't actually hit you with the blast radius of their explosion. And now the cat ring's going to save you a lot on this area, so you don't die from fall damage. So you're going to kind of dip off beside this ladder here, take this small one down, and then you should be able to go right down there. And you're good. Now we're going to make it to a part with a lot of these statues. These are poison spitters, so what they do, if you play the game, you probably know, they'll shoot poison. And that is, it's going to do direct damage, stagger, and it's going to poison you, so we don't want to actually have those hit us at all. So you're going to be knocking them out. And then we're going to be throwing fire bombs on the ones along the right side. You only need to knock out 2 on the left side. That's it. And then you just want to make sure all these ones are clear and you can go straight through. I like to just roll so I can kind of just be short of falling off the ledge. Or just be a little bit over falling off the ledge, but not overshooting it. Because you can die on there too, and we just fall down that series of platforms to the bonfire. I would recommend if there's anything that's going too fast in this run, just slow it down with the video if you need to. If any of the movements are too quick on this part. So we're going to be taking this bridge to the right. We're going to be running along the left side here. And we're going to take out these statues. So I'm going to play that again. Right along the left. These guys will actually block you or hit you if you're too slow from the bonfire. So as soon as you actually are leaving the bonfire, you want to be immediate. You don't want to actually waste any time. Because they're on a route where they're moving around without you needing to be there. So you need to be very fast to just get through here. And then they will miss you. Pivot, hit those. Running attack, running R1 on this guy. Make sure you're very fast on that. What I like to do, you also notice, I'm not locked onto the guy before I attack. I'm actually locking on halfway through the attack being queued. It's going to make it redirected to be more accurate. It really helps with enemies like this that are small, and especially if it's dark. This guy's climbing down the ladder. You're going to hit him twice. He will die. We take a bow out. We kill anybody else that's going to climb up the ladder here. So we have a follower. Those 2 that were in the area further back. So we're going to kill him. And then there's this little beast dude kind of chilling down here. You can't see him too well, but he should be roughly in that area. If you just look forward from the ladder, and you just want to kill him before you get over there with the bow. It's pretty simple. Now we're running straight. This part we're going to clear out more statues. So the ones on the left right here with an R1. This guy that's getting up between the urns, and then these other ones right here. Or that one statue right there. The other ones that are shooting will miss you. It's fine. This part... There should be an enemy at the end of this bridge, I believe. Now, we're not going to deal with him. We're just going to run by him. This guy we're going to run by as well. Strafe on the left side. We're going to take out these poison spitters here. Be sure to be sure that you're actually accurate when you're hitting this, because you can actually hit the sconce or like the stone thing that has like the torch to be lit on it. And that'll rebound your hit, so it'll actually waste a lot of time, and they could catch up. So you want to make sure you kind of just hit right beside it. Don't hit the one that's in front of it. And then you're going to actually go right here. And you're going to pivot to the right around this, and you're going to run to the fog gate. And you should be fine. Now, there's actually an even better way to do this part. I heavily recommend you check out the SL1 trilogy run that I'm going to be linking for a better strat on this part. I would recommend it for anybody now. I didn't actually know how to do it at this point. That does work, what I just did. But the new strat's a lot better. As we're sliding down this ladder that we get to out of the fog here, you can see... I go slightly to the right around this wall. There's a guy that's going to do a variety of different attacks, but a lot of the time he's going to stab you with 2 hands. You're going to actually do a semicircle around him, and he's going to miss you. And then you're going to use that to go to the ladder and buy yourself some time. This guy's never going to hit you right when you get to the bottom of the ladder, so you want to go slightly left. Roll for these corrosive urns straight ahead. Get the fragrant branch of yore. And then now we're in Gulch, so right before Rotten. And here we're already taking out some poison spitters that are on the left side here, and the ones on the right as well. We're going to try to take out as many as we can up until a certain point where it's safe. Now, I use a firebomb for that one. It's a little bit trickier to hit it without getting hit, so use the firebombs on the ones that I'm using as a recommendation, just so you don't swing yourself into a position where you get hit because you miss. These ones that are lined up straight are pretty easy to poke, so... can just do that. Forlorn, I believe, did invade me there, so this is a good example of what happens when Forlorn invades on this part. And you'll see him, he's coming up in the area right over here where the cursor's circling. So we're going to be trying to get these 3 statues bombed before he even gets in here, and we're going to try to get this one bombed too, and we're bringing him back to this area here. Now, normally he wouldn't invade every time, so this is just like a worst case scenario. But you're getting an attack where you can dodge it. So a lot of the time he'll do that 2-hand running attack. Sometimes he'll do a quicker swing with 1 hand. You're gonna have to get some practice on that and get used to it. But normally If he didn't invade, you'd still go this way, but in this case, because he's too far behind us now, we've cleared out all the statues. We're just going around that one that's still standing, and then we're making a right at the one laying down here. We're dropping down twice to this area where the giants would normally be. We're not going to deal with the giants right now or anything. We're just going to go to the right here, get in the cage. And the idea is Forlorn's still stuck up in that other area, so it shouldn't be too hard to deal with him from up here, because we're pretty safe now. Now we're going to be using fire arrows on these oil pools right here to set them on fire, because there's enemies that spawn out of these three particularly, so we can kind of prep them to have them killed before they even spawn. And then Forlorn's right there, so all we're going to be doing is killing him with arrows at this point. And again, he can't reach the area you're in, so there's no reason to worry about anything at this point. Sometimes there's another invader that will pop up. A lot of the time it will be, I think, Woodland Child Gully, I believe. There's two of them, but the one will appear when you leave this ledge right here. So that means the next maneuver you do to get to the bonfire after you'll see me kill Forlorn here, it has to be very quick. And I'll try to explain that once Forlorn's dead. But I think typically when Forlorn invades, it doesn't mean that the other invader is going to invade. Or sorry, it means that the other invader won't invade because he took his place. So you'll see he actually gets damaged by going in the fire pool as well. But we're just locking on using arrows. It's pretty much played out at this point, very simple. And then I'm backing up a little bit. I'm waiting for a second. Then we're going to jump right here. This is very important. We want to get a super big gap from the wall because there's spitters along the wall right underneath us. So we're on the right of this rock right here. We're jumping straight in between these two pools. And then we're going to actually go to this far side here. We're going to break this statue and we're going to break these two statues. Ideally, these two right here you can break with one swing that are beside each other, or you can use a firebomb on them if you want. I would say firebomb's probably faster. Use the fragrant branch of yore with this guy right here. And then we're waiting for him to basically animate so we can kill him. You just want to hit him before he hits you, basically. Boom. Again, for that stretch running up to this bonfire here, I'd heavily recommend the SL1 run that I'm going to be linking as well. So we're switching our rings up a bit here. Taking off the silver serpent ring, or sorry, taking off the cat ring. We're switching it for red tear stone. So we have ring of blades, red tear stone, chloranthy, and then we're going to switch stone ring for silver serpent ring +1 so we can get more souls when we kill Rotten, because we don't really need stone ring on Rotten. We fall out of this hole in the wall right here, and then you'll see to the right we have more poison spitters, so we're going to be trying to hit these ones very carefully. At this point, once you're actually doing this, there is a guy that's going to invade, and you have a timer, so you can't be too slow on this, or he will get you from the fog gate. So you got to be very quick at this point to kill these guys. I like using a firebomb on those ones now, just because it's going to blow up both of them at the same time. And what can happen here actually is if you swing for one of them, you'll miss, and you'll go past one and it'll hit you immediately because you missed. This one I dodge all the time as soon as I'm passing it. No need to actually get rid of it. Pretty simple. And then we just go to the fog gate, and the invader cannot catch up to us. And now we're on Rotten. So on the beginning of the Rotten fight, you'll see we run in and we go to the left of him immediately. Sometimes we'll have to do an attack, so we'll have to dodge that attack and know what that is. And we're going to dip into this fire pool right here. We're going to run for 2, 3, about 4 footsteps and then roll out. Just until the health gets to the point where we got red tear stone activated. You might die on this the first few times. You're just going to have to get used to it because it will tick your health. But if you have no armor on and you run just along the edge like I did, you should be able to set it up pretty easily. Now Rotten does a few different combos, so he'll do like one-hand attacks that are vertical, and then he'll follow them up with a horizontal chop. Sometimes he'll do hand slams like he did right there. He'll do like individual swings. He has an AoE that he does, and he has a attack that's a slam that has an effect on it that goes in a straight line as well. So for these combos, we're just kind of trying to roll these chops and then conserve the stamina so we can hit him a little bit in between. Backing away from the AoE every time he does it. Always rolling to the right of the hand slam. He has a backhand right there. That's a really good attack to go in for. And you never want to have your stamina close to being depleted on this. You want to anticipate that after everything he does, he's going to swing 3 more times, so that you have to have enough stamina to come back on top of those 3 swings and not get hit, basically. So you're always thinking the worst scenario every time he is being punished, like following that moment. So after that, we put our armor on, we homeward bone back to the bonfire here, and then we take this bonfire back to Majula to level up a little bit in between each fight. We're going to be repeating that 3 more times. And every single time we use a bonfire ascetic to bring him back, he will have more health and he'll do more damage to us. Obviously, we're not going to be taking damage on this at all from him, but he will actually be harder to kill, so we're going to need to use bright bugs eventually to do more damage. So I'm popping all the souls that I have right now. You should have in the hundreds of thousands. And the reason that Rotten is done 4 times on this is so we can get 1,000,000 soul memory, which I'll show you later on, to open a door as an alternative method to actually killing 4 different bosses. So we're going to be getting all those bright bugs left that Melentia has. And we're leveling up our strength now to 24. And our endurance... Oh, okay, strength to 20, endurance to 19. These are not super hard and fast, and like you don't have to do them the exact same way, but those are the stats you should be focusing on at this point. You do want a lot of endurance coming up for the next areas. So you could play it more strength than endurance, but again, if you can't attack too many times, then you're not going to probably kill him as fast, since we already do have a lot of damage as it is. So kind of try to distribute the stats between the strength and endurance evenly at this point. And then eventually we will be putting more dexterity into. So right here we're burning a bonfire ascetic. This is going to bring back everything in the area again, all the items we just brought back and the boss as well. And then we're doing the same sequence of getting into the fog gate here with just hitting the statues. I like to again aim kind of to the right for the one that's tucked in a bit, just so you don't swing past it. And then again, you can see that we got invaded by Victor, but he was too slow. So this is actually a hard scenario, I'd say, with the intro of the fight where he goes for the grab, because it's actually pretty delayed, so that when you roll, it's hard to see where he's actually moving his hand. So you kind of have to know the timing of it a bit. But I would say if he ever moves his hand that doesn't have the weapon, just be ready to roll pretty late. Like right about there. And then again, we're dipping in about 4 steps, and then we're rolling out. Gets us the red tear stone set up. And the fight is the same at this point. He's not going to do different attacks. He's just going to have more health. I mean, of course, he might give you different RNG. Might be a little bit more random, but there's nothing that changes with his moveset or anything. And there's a lot of good examples you'll see of how you handle everything that he'll do on this, because he probably will do mostly every attack on this video. Locking on Rotten you can do, it just, for me, it kind of restricts the movement a little bit. Makes it a bit harder to place myself where I want to be to avoid some of his hitboxes, because he does have some pretty big hitboxes on his arms, where you won't necessarily get touched by him, but he'll kill you still. So you can see I'm just kind of going to the right on those punches. It's pretty straightforward. So I punish twice on the backhand, once on some of the other attacks that they're a little bit quicker. On the AoE, I don't even punish at all. I wait for the next combo just in case. So we're being very conservative. You could afford with this much stamina to be more aggressive, but again, keep in mind I did just do a hitless run on DS1 on this video right before, so I'm pretty nervous about that. And then we just put on the armor and then go back to the bonfire again. And essentially you could think of this as farming Rotten, so we can get to the next area. And we're going to repeat the same process of leveling up again. I think at this point, let's see. I think we've purchased all the bright bugs that we can, so we're good for those. And then as for the stats, we are going to be putting in 24 endurance, 30 strength, 30 dex, okay, even more endurance, 30, 30, 30 across the board now. And that's a theme that you're going to see happen on this run. We're going to be basically keeping our strength and our dex pretty close, in close proximity level-wise, and then the endurance is going to be pretty close to that as well. Eventually, the endurance might be a lot more. And then towards the very, very end of the run, we're going to have a lot of adaptability pumped in at the end. But this is kind of prioritizing what stats are important at the time that we're doing the stuff, right? Because we don't really need too much more adaptability now. We obviously need more endurance. And then the strength's going to give us some more damage too, because we already had a lot more dex than strength. And this weapon scales with dex primarily, but it does get boosted by strength a bit. So before I even go in the fight, you'll notice I actually use a bright bug right away, and I use the charcoal resin in the cave. That's because we don't really have time to buff when we're in the fight, because we're setting up that red tear stone ring in the pool of fire, right? So we want to have those prep before we even go in the door for that. Getting in the fog gate here. And now we're on the third rotten, so believe that he's going to be pretty tanky. And again, that buff and the bright bug will just help you do more damage on him. So you'll notice a difference in difficulty with the consecutive fights, and I think that this is one of the hardest things in the run too, because it's not really that anything you're doing is super complicated, but just the amount of mental strain from doing the same boss 4 times in a row and it getting longer and longer. It can make you get complacent or just kind of like not pay attention enough, and you might just slip up on really small details because it's redundant, right? So I think that it might be a part where you see yourself getting a lot of stupid hits. So you just want to kind of think of each one that you go into as like the first fight again, like take it just as seriously if you can. And then you're basically halfway there already. So we're gonna finish him off. Just doing the AoE again. Let's see. And then again, I'm putting on all that armor really fast, and then I'm homeward boating. We go back to Firelink again. And wait, let me see. Oh, on this one, I believe we actually don't go back to Firelink because we're already leveled quite a bit. So this is the final rotten. This is the third bonfire aesthetic we will have used. And it looks like we're not making the trip back this time. We're just going straight in there. I'll be using another charcoal pine resin and another bright bug again. So for the last 2 rottens, basically have it buffed up before you go into the fight. And then for the first 2, you don't have to have buffs at all. Just the red tear stone. Reason for that too is also you do want to save the bright bugs for later. You don't have an infinite amount you can buy, so you want to save them for the really hard bosses for sure. So again, pretty solid rotten fight. I'm trying to find one attack that he hasn't done yet. We'll see if he does it on this one. Basically, the attack is just a slam. It's a very slow overhead, but it has a magic effect around it. I kind of like to go on like to the left of his hand when he does it. Right here. Here we go. So on this one, I go to the right because I'm already far away, but you want to have that kind of timing where as soon as it's about to hit the ground, you get quite a bit of space. You don't want to be existing in the area where his weapon is because there's going to be lingering damage, which means even if you do dodge the attack, it'll still continuously be doing damage after it has already stopped, and you might die just because you know, it's still processing the damage. So, or it's almost kind of like it's hitting for longer, even though he's already hit the ground. So now on the last one, we just go into this cave right here. And this is the primal bonfire that we need to get back to Majula, signifying that we've beaten the Rotten. And we should be actually sitting around 1,000,000 soul memory right now with all the souls popped in our inventory and what we already have. Soul memory, if you don't know what that is, if you're newer to the game, it's just the total amount of souls you've consumed in general. Not the amount you're holding, but just the total consumed. So now we're gonna be popping those last 2 souls right there. Oh, I believe we have another 2. So for the new game plus Rottens, or the ones that were preceding the first one, you get 2 different souls from them. I'm gonna be leveling up. Let's see. Looks like I'm going for endurance on this. So I get to 50 and oh, okay, I'm gonna play a little bit more conservatively. 40 endurance, 40 strength, and 40 dex. 40, 40, 40 across the board. We're keeping it even. We have about 100,000 souls left. That's important because right now we're heading to Vengarl. We're going to be actually buying a crazy amount of lightning pine resin from him. So it was at that fork in the road bonfire I said we'd be returning to where the foggy forest is. So we're not actually going to go to the next area yet. We're going to dip back into this one. And again, coming back here, the second time we're going a different path. So we're hitting that tree in the middle and we're going to the left. I'm immediately pulling out the rapier after I shoot that tree with the bow. Hitting this tree on the right, and then we're going really hard left here. You'll see this little uphill pathway, and you want to go really far left into the corner, and then there's Vengarl. So Vengarl is going to give you lightning pine resin. I bought 21 of them. I'm still saving some more souls at this point for some arrows that we're going to be getting later from Chancellor Wellinger once we get into the castle itself. So make sure you still have a decent amount to buy arrows for later. Those are going to be lightning arrows. They're pretty important. We should have over 200 of the regular arrows at this point, especially in case Forlorn invades, and because this area is very bow heavy. So we're going to be killing this falconer. You kind of have to just predict his pathway right here. And then there's another one hiding in the bush. So we take him out. And then we're just heading up this way. Now, there is one dude hiding right behind this wall. I try to get headshots on him if I can. The way the collision works in this game, you might see later on, I could point it out. You could shoot a wall, or beside a wall, and the arrow will just get stuck in midair because the collision just goes so far beyond the walls. It's not really that tight. They kind of programmed it weird, so... If you see your arrows floating around this mountainside here when you're trying to shoot that guy behind the cliff, then it's probably because of that. So on this part right here, what we did was we shot the first one. We got him. And then the other one poked out right here. And he's going to chase us down. So we're going to actually run up to him and then run away. He'll do this overhead attack, and then we just come back with a running attack, lock on, and then a following R1. So this dude right here that's or like a ghost, I guess, he's walking back and forth. We kind of wait till he gets further away. And then we run right into this guy, running attack with a follow-up. And this is the door I was talking about where you're going to be getting 1 million soul memory to open it. So there's two different ways to do this. Traditionally, you could kill 4 bosses that will open that door, or you can have 1 million souls consumed in total. And that's why we killed Rotten 4 times. Now we're into... I would say what would be the late game, or becoming the late game. So from a distance, we're shooting this guy right here. He's going to continuously try to walk towards you, so we're going to keep moving the crosshair down to keep up with him. And if he does get up to you, it's not a big deal. You can actually just run through the area. You could homeward bone if you wanted to, but you could actually just like run down the cliff, run through the area, and run around the other guy over there if you can pull off like a good gap on him. But we do like to kill these guys if we can. They're pretty sneaky sometimes. They'll shoot arrows at you as well. And they have a dagger, so they'll do like a running attack or a rolling attack into you, and if they're very close, they'll just immediately be attacking you with a dagger. It's very fast, so you don't want to be too close to them if you do have to pass by them. And if you do have to pass by both, then make sure the one's chasing you and that he's gotten up on the cliff and that you've kind of baited him to the pathway that you were on and you slipped by him. So you can kind of make more space for the other one to run by. And they won't chase you into this area if you have to do that. A good example of that, I think, on the SL1 run that I'll link. So here we go. We kill this one guy with some headshots here. The other one turns around. And then we're shooting once. We're dipping behind the wall just in case he shoots us. And then we're going to finish him off. Get the rapier out here. I just do a similar maneuver to the beginning. Just like, go back up. Back away, then 2 R2s on him again. So that rule still applies for that type of enemy when you're doing hand-to-hand combat. We're shooting this crystal lizard with some arrows so it doesn't escape. It's pretty tricky to kill with the regular weapon, so I'd always use the bow for that. And that's going to get us some Titanite chunks to get to +9, or +10 actually, including the slab that we got from Seldora. So it's some chunks that we needed. Now on this part, this is interesting. It's a little annoying. Let me go back. So when we get to this top of the staircase, we're actually kind of on a time-sensitive basis, so we want to be quick here. As soon as we get up here, there are dudes behind us chasing us, and it gives us kind of a lot of pressure to be quick. So we need to look at this dude right here. We need to shoot him twice. He should die. His soul will go to the contraption right there to activate the door. And then this other one, we're peeking over the handrail here, and we're trying to get him to send his soul to this contraption here too. But sometimes when you shoot the other guy, not solely based off the distance of how far away you are from him, but how far he's away from the contraption, he can actually have his souls go to you instead of the contraption, which means you have to do the whole thing you just saw for the last 5 minutes again, because he just wasn't close enough for it to absorb, and the door won't open. So that's really annoying. Now, there's some times where Forlorn will invade in this area, and that happens, and then you have to deal with Forlorn and other enemies, which your only option at that point is getting another Royal Soldier to spawn from the area in the left here, because they come out of a doorway around the side of the castle, and killing him in front of the lift, and then basically just kind of trying to bait Forlorn in this area by running around and not aggroing these guys right here. But in a normal scenario where Forlorn would invade, you just have both these activated already. He'd pop up, and then we'd have to run around him, but not aggroing these guys, so just dodging his attacks. Now at this point of the game, every time Forlorn invades, I believe he has the scythe, which is a lot harder to avoid than the greatsword. So that'll take some practice. You will probably get hit by Forlorn on this run quite a bit until you get better at it. It's hard to practice because you can't actually make practice files for that. You can't force him to invade, so it's just going to be the least practice you get on out of everything. But eventually you'll get better at it. And a lot of the runs he won't invade at all. So we're waiting here at the side to be safe. We don't want to be right in front of the door because it's going to trigger some other enemies that are going to chase. And you'll see right here, I'll turn around and there'll be Royal Soldiers chasing me through the door in a moment. There you go. Just going to try to take them out if we can quickly. Usually one of them can get taken out with the bow, the other one makes it to you. So let me pull the rapier back out and we just kill him very safely by evading an attack. Okay, so this is Chancellor Wellinger. He's going to sell us lightning arrows. We need those for Shrine of Amana. They're going to do more damage, especially because there's a bonus since everything's in water. So it'll help out with the next place that we're going to after this area. So we buy about 340 lightning arrows. Again, I would say you probably want about 300 at least. I buy some repair powder too, you'll see that. The repair powder does help later on. I'll be pointing it out when we actually use it. But we don't really need it right this second. You do want to get some repair powder though. I believe your bow actually, it basically is about to break in the Undead Crypt because you haven't hit a bonfire or sat at one for so long that its durability is in a pretty dangerous part, or a pretty dangerous state. So you do have to actually repair the bow when you're in the crypt. So on this part, let me go back right here. This guy is a statue. He's going to unpetrify right when you get up to him. We do R2s to stagger him. And I have the stone ring on for this part. Usually, I would recommend that. This guy, you can just do regular R1s if you want. Make sure they're dead before you drop down. Just going to open these doors right here. And we're just going to go back to the blacksmith to get our weapon maxed out now. So now we're doing big boy damage. Now this is the real deal. And it doesn't matter which blacksmith you go to. You have all the materials, so they can just do whatever you need. If you do need regular arrows or more of them, you could go to Macduff. If you don't, then you could go to Lenegrast over here. I believe I'm checking to see what my stats are. Debating leveling up here. Checking Malentia as well to see if there's any other items I need, but I don't believe I need any. So when we get to the blacksmith, the rapiers should be able to be upgraded twice. And that's about it. We're going back. And let's see, now I'm back. Now this part, so there's a door that needs to be opened, similar to the contraption outside the gate of the castle, where we need souls to be consumed by a door for it to activate. Now I'm going to put lightning pine resin on the weapon here. We're going to go pivot around the corner and kill this stone guy on the right side very quickly. So we're gonna do R2s on him, so we can kill him in 3 hits, then run all the way back to the bonfire again. Sit at the bonfire so it respawns the one that was chasing us on the left side, because it pulled both of them. And then we're going to make sure we have lightning arrows on the character for this area as well. So you could do that right before this part if you wanted to. So if Forlorn invades, you can do more damage. And now you can see you can run right through the door. We kill this guy immediately once we get through this area. So if Forlorn invades, we can use the staircase right here to keep baiting him. And what you would actually do, I'll try to explain it just in case, because there's not really the greatest example that you'll see, because he's probably not going to invade me on this. I can't really remember if he does, but I don't think he does. So the staircase right here, he'll basically come from up in this area by the time you get to the poison room, and you're going to basically run back to this area. You're going to drop off the stairs, go around, shoot him, and keep going in a loop over and over and over again until he's dead. That's the best you can possibly do, the safest way you can do it at this point. But having those enemies dead ensures that you don't have anything else interrupt you, and the lightning arrows does help a little bit. This guy we're going to do a running attack on, kill him immediately. Now this is the poison room where Forlorn might invade by the time you get here, so you might have to back up and run away. Another mechanic on this game, you'll notice I'm opening the door slightly then rolling through it. That the reason being that regular doors you can open faster that way, but you can't roll through it immediately. You have to wait to the right time. This staircase, we do a jump to the right onto this island here. That jump is not super simple, so I'd say you might miss it sometimes. You might need some practice, but we kill the one guy that is coming to life from the statue on the far left side of the lineup, and then we just go get this hidden bonfire, come back out again, go up the ladder. Now he does respawn, but because we don't have to set up red tier stone on this run because we have so much damage already, we wouldn't kill him again, but on SL1 you would kill him, which you'd see in that run. So here we're going to do something where we have the bow, I believe, in the offhand. Again, it's a short bow +7 at this point. We have the lightning arrows queued so we can use them. We're using a bright bug and we're buffing our weapon. The reason we have the bow in the offhand is so the buff doesn't get canceled on the right hand. And we can just kind of two-hand the left hand, which is holding Y. And then we're shooting. The only thing that gets trippy here is basically every button you're using is reverse. So basically you're shooting as if you were left-handed. So L1 is to shoot, R1's to aim, instead of the vice versa. And you have to hold the two-hand button to two-hand your offhand, basically. So that just makes it so the buff still lasts. And we're shooting this guy twice so he falls down here. And then we're switching back to the rapier by two-handing my right hand now, strafing an arrow if we need to. And this guy should die very fast. Just enough time to get him out of the way before this guy comes and kills us. And regular Dragon Rider is not too bad. He does have some weird combos where he delays really long and then just does something out of nowhere, so you want to wait to make sure you're safe. Like that one that he did right there, that overhead, he can follow that up. Even this he can follow up too. So a lot of his attacks are just going to be pieces of combos or the same attacks that are individual in combos. And he's just going to try to basically fake you out. But you can kill him pretty quickly. There's a really good example of that fight in the SL1 run. Again, I will try to recommend it in the comments, and I'll put annotations on the screen so you can click it at different points in the video where I find that's important. And then we're gonna basically hit that bonfire. And we want to be quick here. We don't want to waste any time because you'll notice the bright bug buff is still active from the fight and the resin's still active. So we're gonna actually use that to our advantage on this part. We're gonna switch the... Or actually, sorry, I don't think did we switch a ring? I think we put on stone ring, didn't we? Let's see. Or... Yep, I think I put on stone ring here, so if you didn't already have it on, which you could have just had it on at this point, then put it on. But I think I'm trying to get more souls because I wanted the silver serpent ring bonus, so on this guy popping out of the wall, we'll be able to kill him in one hit, I believe. Just do an R2 and he's dead, because we still have the bright bug buff and the gold resin. On here, this mannequin's going to fall down from the ceiling. We do regular R1s and kill him immediately. Again, it's 2 hits because the bright bug's still active, and then we switch back to the bow on the offhand. Remember, the controls are reversed at this point, and we're going to get the arrow actually drawn and ready, and then we're going to lock on and shoot him once he's just off center of the giant. So when he's like slightly to the left of being in line with the goblet, and that will make sure that he doesn't get too close to you, but it also goes to the statue as well and not you instead. And then that activates the lift for LGK, which is coming up soon. And this is like the longest lift of all history in anything I've ever seen. So we're basically just waiting for a while here. And that means you can organize whatever you need to do. Pop all the souls you need to pop. Make sure the arrows are on that you need. Talk to chat if you stream, or skip the video if you're a dude commentating your old run. And then get on the lift. Lose 4 years of your life and possibly die in the meantime. And then finally get up to this door. The chest on the left-hand side of the door when you go in has the key to the passage that we're going to be going through. We're in a homeward bone so we can save all the time going back down that lift. We don't really want to use it. But because we're doing that, make sure you don't fall into the hole in the ground because it's in the up position. I believe you can actually fall through there and die, so be careful there. I think right here I'm setting up red tier stone rings, so you'll notice actually there's so when we set up red tier stone ring from falling, we use references for things. So basically it would be like markings on the wall. It could be rungs on the ladder. You can count the amount of steps up the ladder, but we're actually going to be using these things in the archways. These archways in the door. So you'll see there's 2 sections here that look pretty particular. Try to point it out as we're going up. I'm going to do it in slow motion. So you can see we passed one right here. There's a horizontal section right there, then it's open. And then there's another cross section right here that's flat. And you can see this big bold line right here. I'm going to line the character's head up right around that brick so that when the camera's level, his head's in line with this line right here. And then I think I'm going up a little bit more. Let's see. Okay, so that's a direct RTSR setup. I think I could have... Let me double check something really quick. I'm going to show you that again. This is not a good example because I thought we were falling from a bit before. Okay, so when we get to that bold line right there with the exact stats that we have, we go up 2 more times. Now you could do it from where I was saying, and then you could just do a mini fall from the bottom of the ladder. If you screw this up, or you don't really know how much damage you need, for example, you can always just do 2 falls down the ladder and play it safer. But if you want to do it in 1 fall, right up to that bold line on the second cross section, and then you just go up 2 more times. And again, that will change depending on your stats for how much fall damage you take. So with the exact stats we have now, that we were looking at earlier. So we're going to have a charcoal pine resin ready for this boss, since lightning does not do much to it. And then we're waiting here, just setting everything up. I think we're going to bright bug before we go in. Actually, I don't know if I use a bright bug on this because you only have 1 left. I'll have to see. So yeah, I'm probably just talking to chat and stuff. This boss is a little bit iffy on this run sometimes, so I do use the bright bug, and I do use the charcoal resin right here. Notice how we're not actually too far into this hallway here. We want to actually be pretty far back, and we already want to be sprinting by the time we're passing down those stairs and going by these guys, because they're going to activate and they're going to be very fast. They're extremely fast enemies. You want to keep, I guess, kind of feathering the stamina to not deplete it, but still have just enough, like do these mini sprints so you can make it to the door. And then they'll try to attack you. They'll just miss you by a bit when you get in here. I did it pretty well, but you'll see like right at the end, I don't let the stamina deplete. I do like 3 mini sprints before the door. I get in there. And then right at the beginning, we're actually going to just roll underneath his jump attack. He always starts with that. So on Looking Glass Knight, there's a lot of stuff he can do. The thing with him that's difficult is his hitboxes are pretty ridiculous. So like you might again get hit by something that doesn't actually touch you. We're always going to be rotating around the left of him and dodging to the left if we can, unless it's a particular attack where there's more space on the right. And a lot of the time he's going to do these backhand attacks here. He can alternatively do like a backhand wave attack that's more of an AoE. Or this overhead right here, so we just kind of like walk around that. This is a pretty quick kill on him. He does this combo right here, and they just one more attack at the end. The stab is super scary. It's very delayed, and I think that's actually hit me the most out of any attack he does. This is another really good fight where the SL1 run will give you so much more expansion on all the different attacks that he can do and how to maneuver them. And you'll just, I recommend if you can just look at the SL1 run and slow it down and watch all this stuff on top of what I'm mentioning about it right now. But it does help to always be on the left, because if you are on the right and you hit him, you can actually rebound off of his shield, and then that's no good. He might just kill you from there. And I would never get a large distance from him. I would always be fairly close. Another thing I like to do sometimes if I'm doing SL1 is I stay kind of towards like the tip of his weapon. I stay a little bit further back, but on this, because we have more iframes, we have more adaptability, you're not going to see how brutal the hitboxes are. Like, you're not going to get as wonky of hits. So get to Shrine of Amana, we light the spawn fire. Now we're going back to Majula to buy more bright bugs for later, because we just used our last one. And Melentia should have another 3 available. If you've used all the ones that we had before, that's how much you should have. Make sure you buy them right now, though. Don't wait any later, because we want to make sure we have them immediately for everything. And once you're actually doing this part, you're kind of locked in. You can't really make too many more trips back. Like, this is the last area you could really make a trip back, in my opinion, before it's kind of a pain in the ass. So we're going to be going off of this staircase right here, just doing some little falls off of the side of it to get some damage, so we can take or get the red tier stone set up. Now this is going to be a little bit random. Like, there's not one set point to get it done in one fall that I know of, but I just kind of do a bunch of like little chip damage falls to equal enough for red tier stone. Rolling over the edge of it helps too, because you kind of get stuck sometimes. And in this game, there's a weird thing where you can take very small amounts of fall damage, as you can see from where I'm falling, but if you do something slightly different with the movement, but it's pretty much the same height, you can take a lot more damage or a lot less. So it's very scary to try to calculate dropping in this and what it's going to actually do, because it's a little wonky. So we're going to kill this enemy in the water right here. We're going to take out this one right here too. We have the lightning arrows on at this point. Gonna shoot this Archdrake Knight. Should be 3 hits to kill. Now, if you hit them in the head, I believe if you hit them in the head twice, it's 2 hits to kill. But aiming for the body is always safer. You want to be very accurate on this part of the game. As soon as an enemy gets loose and you can't hit it, you're in trouble. So you really want to be careful. Make sure you're hitting every single shot. And because you're not going to be one-shotting almost anything in this part, it's going to be a bit harder because they will start moving. And that's the easiest way to die on this, is just kind of letting them get loose. Especially the dudes with the weapons. So we're killing all these enemies in the water that you see here. This one in the middle too. It's very easy to forget they exist sometimes, or that you might skip over one and then the run's over because you forgot about it. Had that happen many times. I've seen it happen to a lot of people. So just make sure you're always paying attention to which ones you need to kill. We get this one Archdrake Knight right here. And then I think these ones, we're just gonna kind of wait until we can aggro them, and then, yeah, there we go. Sometimes they're walking around and they'll just walk away from your shots. So you gotta wait a moment. I'm not sure if I can hit this guy. Apparently I can. Wow. There we go. Now this part on SL1 is much harder. Like, you have to be, it's much less forgiving, just because the crossbow has such a big penalty when you use it, and you have like half the stamina, so you gotta be very precise on that. I'm surprised the bow goes that far on this though. Now there's another frog right here, right off the bat. Pretty hard to see, but it's right beside the bonfire. And this dude, we're gonna be outside the range that we can, so we can hit him without him hitting us with a projectile, basically. So you don't want to walk too far up when you shoot that one. It's gonna be 2 pillars. You can shoot this dude in between the pillars. Pretty nice. Then there's this old knight right here. He takes quite a bit of hits to kill, so we're just gonna kind of keep a distance and just keep pelting him. Just be patient with that. Don't worry about it. He's not really that dangerous. So this area is just being very patient, very, very planned out and tactical with how we're doing the order of everything. Another frog in the water right there beside the pillars. And you'll see there's an order that kind of is important as we're progressing, so we're not activating any enemies that we don't want to. There's only so much variation you could really do in this where I'd recommend it. There's a little hole in between these rocks where you can kill this guy too sometimes. It's a bit hard to hit, but I try to go for it. You'll see right there I can get it. This frog to the left of this platform is important. So if Forlorn invades, you'd actually be going to that ramp right there. You'd be jumping onto that ramp right here, and you'd be just sitting here. Forlorn can't actually jump onto here, so you just chill here. You'd kill him with the bow. That is your backup plan if Forlorn invades. You run all the way back to this area. You make sure there's no frogs around here or the caster behind that other section across from it, and you just chill right there. This frog right beside this pillar, I believe, is one of the last ones. And then, actually, there's one more. There's one more coming up. So before I do that, I'm killing this caster across this stretch so we don't get sniped. And then there's one more in the bush right here. This one's very, very hard to see. It's practically just a guess. Like you just have to know it's there until you get very close. So from that spot, it's very hard to see, but you can play around with it until you can get it. Then we're gonna put on gold pine resin here. And we're just hitting these as they jump up, or if we can kind of sneak up on them from behind like that first one. But you want to be almost hitting as soon as you possibly can so that if they attack, they can't trade with you, because they are fairly fast. Switch back to the bow. Gonna be shooting this this caster right here. And the hippo that's on the right side shouldn't really be a problem at this point. But if he does chase you, just go around the building. He can't actually go around the back side of this building right here. You go along the outside. I think in this run I was taking extra precautions than I actually needed to on this part, but we'll see right here, because there is some change in the SL1 run from what I do, I think. So yeah, we're just going along here, seeing if the hippo does chase us. Don't believe he is. Nope. But I think we're going for him though still. Just in case. That might be because he aggroes when we kill another enemy on the other side. Because we do have to actually go back, I think. Yeah, we're going back over here. And we're going to be killing this guy from this way, so that when we go back around, he's not hard to deal with because of all the uneven ground and just like all the objects in the way and everything. Let me circle back around this way again. And that clears out pretty much everything that's able to get you from here. And now when you get to this part, there is this caster here. And I try to get a headshot to start it off so we can get a 2-piece. And then for this guy, we always try to get headshots on the ones that are standing still to start off. Does kill them in 2 hits. It's a lot better. These ones that are really far away are a little hard to deal with, but you'll see this triggers the other one. He's going to start running.
4 months, let's go. Are you planning to do the 0 damage Ds too?
I lock on right when this guy gets here. And then we kill him as soon as he's up to that platform. But if he does run all the way around, just get back in the water where he is as soon as he's in the area that the ledge you're standing on, and just kind of loop around over and over until he's dead. It's the best you can do there. And then they're all dead. Gonna be hitting this bonfire right here. These guys will break your gear, so we do try to kill them. Shouldn't be too hard to take out this big one. I would go for the big one first, and then the small ones after. And then there's some other ones on the right side that are behind us. They're not going to be able to catch up if we're really fast on this. So you could kill them if you wanted to. You can see I'm turning around to check. But at a certain point, they'll just give up. They're really slow. We kill this caster here. Always use the cave wall if you need to duck behind it if she is shooting you. And then we try to hug this little area really tightly when we're turning the corner, because you can just fall into the oblivion there, into the water. So this caster is kind of playing dead, basically. And what I do here is wait for her to activate. Then I do an R2 attack to a one-shot. We use a bow on this one right here. Again, hugging the corner super tight around this rock because you can just fall off. And then we're two-handing our bare hand. The reason we're doing this is so we can actually go in the fog gate faster. This is a speedrunning trick that people use. It cuts down the actual amount of time it takes to get in the fog gate for some reason. And what this actually creates is a really safe way to get away from Kindler, which is invading right now. He's going to basically shoot you with some sort of magic very quickly if you don't get in this fog gate ASAP. So we go to the left side to kind of offset the lineup with him, so he's more likely to hit an object before he gets you. And then we're two-handing the offhand so that like you'll see him shoot and it just hits the wall as we're actually getting through here. Sometimes it's literally the matter of like half a second or a second or so, but you want to be very fast going through there. And again, pay very close attention to how I go through the water as well on the way to that door. Now, Demon of Song is pretty annoying. There is one attack she does that's super, super ridiculous and very rare. It's a belly flop, so we try to keep a distance. I think on this run in particular, I already know that. So we're just going for a few hits. We're playing it extra conservative if we can, because you don't want to run out of stamina on this boss at any point, just because of that belly flop. There's also like a super slide she'll do as well. All these basic attacks, the hand slams, you just stay away. It's very simple, and then you can punish them after. She'll close the shell once she's done it, and then do another attack. This big slam is super easy to punish. You just strafe it. Honestly, very simple boss outside of the belly flop for sure. And right here you can see I kind of got scared. I ran away, or I rolled away immediately because I rebounded off her shell, since I knew she could have done the belly flop. I wish I had a good example of that to show. You might be able to look it up, but basically you just always want to be backing away from her after any kind of engagement, and then kind of trying to bait her to do an attack from a medium distance if you can. You don't want to be point blank. And we're switching back to the bow right here. This guy we shoot, I think we're shooting him in the head once, and then we are just grinding it out with the arrows like while he's blocking. So this is actually really slow. It's very boring. There's better ways to do this. You can actually make him turn around if you shoot the doorway a certain way, and you can kill him with a regular weapon if you want to, which is a lot more dangerous. But this is like, if you want to be 100% safe, no matter how much time it takes, this is the really slow way to do it. Again, I was on a trilogy run, so it wasn't just me no-hitting this game, but I did this DS1 before it, and then I have to do DS3 after that, so I was playing it super safe. So that's pretty easy. You're going to see the same thing happen on the following enemies in this area too. And at this point, you can see the red bar on the bow is very low, so we use the repair powder. And I think I had bought 2 just in case. So now that boosts the bow a bit more, so it's more durable again. But if you didn't do that in this area, the bow would break at some point. You don't want that. So when we get down this lift, we're in the crypt. So we light the bonfire here. If Forlorn invades in this area, like this initial part, what you want to do, there's a ledge on this left side here. You're going to actually run backwards out of this area and then go onto this ledge right on the leftmost side that you can. And you can shoot him from there. He can't get to you on this ledge right here. That's the best advice I can give. I've never actually personally had this happen, but I've seen it many times. I've been recommended it by Otstarva, if you know who he is. He knows the most about this game out of anybody in terms of hitless runs, in my personal opinion. So very good advice from him. But again, it's so rare. I've never actually had it happen myself. And then again, we're just shooting this dude again. You try to sneak up and get a headshot while they're not blocking, and then as soon as they block, it's just a slow grind to get them down. But I missed the opportunity. I overstepped it, and then he blocked early, so we're just going to be trying to just shoot him through the shield if we can. This guy's automatically blocking. Again, if you want the quicker way to do this, you're a very impatient person, look at the SL1 run. I killed him with a little bit of a quicker method, I believe. What I'll try to do as well is I can always link the SL1 run, the hitless run that's just aside from the trilogy and not the trilogy strats, just if you want to see more aggressive strats. So I'll put both examples. I think I did change some things for either. All right, so they're dead. We get this guy. I call him Eddie. He's dead. We'll just say for the sake of conversation, his name's Eddie this time. He's just a generic name. It could be Jim. Maybe he's Ted for you if you want. We have this door shield guy. We're going to basically wait right in front of him until he activates. Lock on immediately, go back to this left-hand corridor. He's going to keep backing up then trying to go towards you. And you're just going to be holding your arrows until he's in the line of sight so you can actually connect them. And it's pretty simple. Really no big deal on this part. And as soon as you get to this next corridor, there's these mages. I want to mention headshots are really important on this. You can finish that first one with 3 immediately, then get 1 extra shot on the other one. And every time they do the magic, you just strafe back behind the doorway. You have a lot of time. So if you get hit on this, you're probably very greedy, but it's pretty simple. I believe we use another repair powder there. And then we're going to two-hand our rapier and run through here. And at this point is where Forlorn could invade if he's going to. If he doesn't, then you're safe. Kill that one enemy right there on the left as well with the running attack. We're going to get to Grave Warden Agdane. This is where we're going to buy some dark arrows. This is not 100% necessary, but they do a little bit more damage to the giants in the Giant Lord fight. So we will buy some arrows from him. At this point, we have almost 100k, so we'll see how much do I go for. I think it's probably about 200 or so, at least. Oh, okay. 250, there we go. Now, again, I'd say at this point you could get more if you wanted to, if you really think you need them, but I'm just overdoing it in case. So you could always get a lower number and be more precise. In this part, we're not actually hitting the bonfire. We're going to be breaking these stones, and we're going to be going through here very quickly because this is a time-sensitive area like some other parts that we've talked about, where if you stop moving or you do anything or hesitate, you can die very fast. So you need to be pretty quick on this part right here. There's going to be dudes coming out of the ground that are going to try to kill you that are pretty dangerous. Some other enemies kind of lingering, so you get that first stone right there. You can run around that stone on the other side, I believe. Or you break it, then you run around. And then you're going to break these 3 in a row right here. So we're going to show you that again. So right after the fog gate, you have the rapier in the right hand, one-handed, just so it's a little bit quicker. Boom. And then this one right here, break it, boom, and then run around. Then these 3 right away, just spam them. And you'll be just fast enough where this guy's going to cast something and he's going to miss. I got there even earlier than I planned, so you didn't even see it that well, but there's that. Okay, so this part's actually interesting because this is the hardest Forlorn invasion area there is in the game, in my opinion. I've gotten quite a bit of practice because I've got pretty unlucky with him invading here before. I don't think he's going to in this video, but so we're gonna actually rewind this for a second. Let's see. Sorry, let me go back. So as soon as you get here, if Forlorn does invade, your goal is to kill these guys popping out of the wall as fast as you possibly can, just so they're gone for when he invades. You should have enough time to do that every time. So you bait out an attack from them. They'll either do a thrust or a swipe. And then again, R2 to kill them in one hit, like the one that was in the room with the mannequins. This one on the right is next, and the one on the left is last. And at this point, if Forlorn's invaded, he'll be coming from the doorway behind you, which means you have to maneuver around him, but you want these guys to be activated first. So if you can activate them before he gets to you and then run away, you're simply just trying to maneuver back around them and then escape. without having to kill him, because you're not going to have an easy time killing Forlorn on this. But if it comes down to it and you really want to shoot him with the bow, then use the stone ring and try to go for headshots if you have really good aim. That's the best recommendation I've gotten before. And here we just run over to this area. We're in a bright bug before we get in the fog gate, because we're not going to have enough time to do it in the fight. And then we're going to have the gold pine resin ready for when we get in the fight. Reason being as well, bright bugs last longer than resin, so the resin will always run out first if you do it at the same time. So this will kind of have the timers be more even. We're going to wait at this pillar right here to get these guys to funnel around. And we're going to go around here, and it should break up some of the blockage on the way to that door, and then they won't catch up to you. Now in Velstadt, he can do a bunch of different attacks. A lot of them are horizontal swings, one-handed and two-handed. He'll follow up with thrusts sometimes. He does a two-handed overhead attack that is kind of like a pancake sort of thing. And you can see that right here. I wait for those, and then I punish those. They're very simple. I prefer that the most. Sometimes out of that scenario, he'll do a backhand swipe as well. And if he ever does this combo where he's doing the one-hand swings, I usually just back away because they're a little bit dangerous for me. We're mainly punishing those overheads, and now he's at phase 2, so when he's buffing his weapon, you're just basically going to be hitting him from behind right here, and you should be able to kill him on the spot with the amount of damage we have. On the SL1 run, there's an example of the phase 2 on Velstadt, where he actually can do this magic attack that shoots a bunch of projectiles, and you're going to actually want to wait for that by creating distance, so he does it and then run behind him, and then you can punish him on that a lot safer than all the other attacks. And that example will be in the SL1 run as well. That will be linked in the description and also at different points in the video on the screen. So I believe at this point we just need to go back to Aldia's Keep, which is the third doorway in the Fork in the Road bonfire that we haven't gone to yet, aside from the shaded woods and the area with the the area that we came from. Oh, the area that we went to for Drangleic Castle. Yeah, so it's the going straight ahead from the bonfire. And you'll notice we actually, or no, sorry, wait, is it straight ahead? No, it's to the left. Oh, it is straight ahead. Never mind. Okay. So you'll notice we actually are returning back to where the red tier stone ring was. It's just that way. And then we're killing these kobolds again. The hippo at this point, because we don't have a reason to not kill him, we have so much damage, we might as well just do that. So I do play it safe here. If you want to be spicy and just do it the same way you did the first time you went through this area, you'll probably have more of an ability to do it because you have more ADP. So that means you can dodge better, but apparently I just do it that way because I feel comfortable with that. I'm sure people in chat at the moment were probably giving me shit for that or something, but you can also kill him with the bow. This dude here, he's blocking this door. So now these doors are, as you may know if you played the game, lowered doors. So you need to have the ring to open it. And that means you have to get close enough to activate it with the ring on. So I kind of just dip into where he's standing, and then I get away so it opens the door. And that means you don't have to kill him at all. They're just going to kind of slip by. Now, if you don't feel comfortable with that, you could shoot him with arrows like we did on the other guys that were blocking. And that might be a good reason to get extra arrows if you feel like you don't want to commit to just dodging his attack. But they're pretty easy though if you practice it a bit. So here I believe Azlatil invades. So okay, this is actually interesting too. When he invades and he's popping out of the ground, if you actually run too close to where his character model is popping out of the ground, it actually staggers you, I believe. So that would actually end the run. You don't want to run over where he's popping up, or even slightly close to where he is. You want to make a big gap around him so you don't have that happen. And if you feel like setting up Red Tier Stone Ring, you can always go into this doorway right here, and then he'll go home as soon as you make it in this corridor, and then you go back to that staircase and you just fall off the staircase to set up Red Tier Stone Ring safely. We have a lot of damage, so we don't need to do that right here. Gonna open this door. We're on our way to Guardian Dragon. I Again, if you hear any alert sounds that are weird, it's because I am streaming this, so people are subbing, resubbing, doing weird things. I will thank everybody for the alerts and read all of them later, just to keep it organized. One thing that's important here for this part that's not related to me turning up the music accidentally. Let me see. So we're waiting at the right-hand side of this wall. This hippo is going to break the door, and then we're going to get to another door. And we're going to open it, and then the same thing's going to happen again in the next room. So we're going to go to the right again. He's going to break the door again. Another one. And then we're just going to go around him, and they can't actually make it to the fog gate, so you're safe to just chill here if you want, as long as you're close to the fog gate. And you're going to use a bright bug again. And a gold pine resin for this boss, because it's weak to lightning. Guardian Dragon's pretty interesting. So basically, he can do a lot of things with fire. He can fly in the air and shoot fire at you. He can do a lot of attacks with his neck, like you see right there. He can attack you with his tail if you're behind him. So you always want to be on the side of him if you can. You don't want to be behind him, and you don't want to be right in front. And we're hitting his legs and trying to bait stomps when we're on the side. You see he did one right there. As soon as he flies up and he does this fire attack, you get to the wall. It's the easiest way to deal with that. The only way to deal with that, technically. And now we're kind of just, you see how I'm going right here as he's about to attack. I'm trying to preemptively set up for a situation where if he does the fire breath in a straight line, I'm already moving right so I can kind of get around him and punish him very quick. So he does that, I'm already ready to roll. The hitbox on this fire is pretty ridiculous sometimes, so you do want to already be kind of moving to the right all the time. And you notice I didn't run into him. I didn't like go straight towards him and then turn right. I was kind of just strafing, letting him kind of close the gap, so it's a little bit safer for me to predict what he's going to do. And then following that, I get to punish his leg right here. He flies away. We back up. Anytime he's flying and he's not doing the fire breath immediately, if he flies for a little longer, he's going to do a fireball, and it's going to have an explosion when it hits the ground too. So you're going to want to have a little bit of a strafe. He can also land too, so you might not see him do the fireballs in this fight. Anytime he lands on the wall, you just go to the opposite side of the room again. You'll see I can rebuff here too if I need to, but my weapon's still good, so he lands, and then we're just doing the same thing. We're always strafing right just in case he does the breath, staying at a distance to increase the chance of it, and then punishing his leg on the right but not going behind him. It's very important. So if you want to see an example of exploding fireballs and all that, that's the only thing you probably didn't get to see there. That will be in the SL1 run for sure. And really all you need to do for that is keep a consistent direction and never change your direction in between him flying, just because it'll track you and you won't be able to clear the distance of it. Now on this lift, I think we're taking off all of our items and rings so we can set up Red Tier Stone Ring on this ladder with a calculated amount of falls, and I'm changing the equip load to make it so I take less damage when I fall to help me with that. Now, if you have a calculation where you can do it with all the stuff on, you can try, but I think I just found a way that worked better for me for having no equipment, so let me see. So we're getting out of this area. Emerald Herald will be right here too, I think, on the cliff, but we don't really need the feather from her, so you can talk to her for the feather if you want, but we don't really actually need it, because we still have Homeward Bones, I believe. So we're going up this ladder right here. And with no equipment on at all, we actually just fall off through the hole. And that's our TSR in one fall. And that's why I took off all the equipment, so it makes it a lot more straightforward. You can't survive that if you have all the equipment on. Now, luckily in Scholar, they put zip lines in because they knew people hated this area, so you can just kind of zip line through if you want to be quick, instead of dealing with the redundant Guardian Dragons. I'm just going to go across this bridge. I do this like a little weird thing where I jump a lot on this sometimes. You can see right here, you can just keep spamming jump to get up it a little bit faster. Sometimes it looks really silly too, but I'll kind of just do that. Doesn't really matter as long as you're pretty quick getting across there. And then at this point, we don't want to sit at the bonfire because we wouldn't want to get rid of the Red Tier Stone Ring. We're going to get the bow back out with the dark arrows this time. We'll be shooting these believe they're Drake Knights. And then this guy right here, he'll do some different things. Sometimes he'll block, sometimes he will just do what he did right here and give me a really good situation. But then once in a while, he'll actually shoot a projectile from his sword at you, so you got to be ready to duck around the corner just in case that happens. It's very rare. I haven't seen it many times, but only because, again, like, you're not really aggroing him fully. He's kind of just deciding to what he wants to do, but he never really fully commits to going over to you. This one does chase you, though, so you'll want to back up down the stairs and keep a distance as you're shooting these guys. It's very simple as long as you're moving while you're doing it. We're going to turn right around the corner there, then go up these stairs. And then this same thing for this guy. We're just going to want to make sure we know where we're placed as he's moving towards us so he doesn't just hit us through the stairs. If you have to back up even more, back up always on this part. That is the best advice I can give. And I don't remember exactly how I did this part, but this is where we're going to actually use the poison arrows for the first time, I believe, so we can poison this Dragon Covenant NPC. So the way this works, if you haven't played the game a lot, is these guys basically will only attack you if you run through the area completely. But if you decide to duel this guy that's on the stairs, they'll respect you and they'll basically just watch. So the idea of that applies to the regular enemies that I killed too. Being those big knights, right? So if I'm hitting those guys, I'm killing them. The other guys that are all lined around the outside perimeter of the entire area will not try to kill you. So just don't run by any single enemy that is trying to fight you. You have to kill them in this part, or it's probably going to end pretty badly. Now, this dude's insane. Like, he'll do stuff that you can do as a player, but he also has a lot of stamina. And he does have a lot of damage and some pretty crazy reach with his weapons too. So think of it as a PvP fight almost. Just expect him to do some weird stuff. Once you get the poison ticking, you switch back to dark arrows so you can do more damage. And that would supplement the extra damage so you can kill him very fast. One thing that's important though is if you're shooting him on the stairs and the arrow goes past his body or he rolls the arrow, it can actually hit one of the guys on the side and that will ruin everything. The run will probably be over at that point. So never shoot an arrow if there's a possibility that it could go past him and hit another enemy. Only do it where like the arrow would always hit a wall or the stairs in an open space. And we kind of just circle around him there. There's also a line that you can cross at the top of the stairs where they will all actually still aggro you. So you have to fight them within this area. You can also back up all the way to the very beginning of the area too, like all the way where the bridge was that we were jumping up. And that's what I'd actually recommend if you want to be super safe. Don't go in circles like I did here. Just back out through the door and you're good. And then once he's dead, they respect you so they won't try to kill you. And this is Ancient Dragon, so we get the Ashen Mist Heart right here. And we're going to warp back. At this point, there's only 3 things left that we got to do. Believe that we are popping some souls again to level, do some final leveling. A lot of it will probably go to my adaptability so we can increase the iframes a little bit more. And by the end of this run, I think the maximum iframes you can get is about 16, which puts you up to about a half a second of invulnerability, which is huge. That's much better than the other games. You have to get in the 40s for that. I don't remember the exact number, but we're going to boost it as much as we can now, I think. So because I can't make that stretch, I actually only do 32 ADP to get that extra iframe. So I think we have 15 iframes now. Or, I think about 14 or 15. And then we put a little bit more into dexterity. So we had 44 dexterity there. Now, if you have more levels left over after this, you bought less arrows, you bought less items. Try to get as much ADP as you can. Try to get in like the 40s. Or the last breakpoint for that. You can probably look it up. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it doesn't hurt because it'll give you a little bit of extra flexibility with rolling. And that's going to help you a lot in this part. So now we're going to where Giant Lord is. Again, Forlorn can invade you in this area. This is the last possible place he can pop up in the game. If he does, we've opened that door that we did on the way to Last Giant, for the reason that we can go into the lift where Last Giant is, and his bonfire fog is still there because we have an invader active, and we go through the bonfire, or we go through the fog gate the way we would if we were going to Last Giant the first time down the lift. And as long as you make sure you kill that regular enemy that's on the way and you don't forget about him, you just Homeward Bone back out, Forlorn's gone. He probably won't invade again right after that. So that's the easiest way to get rid of Forlorn. That's why that gate is open. It's very important. Here, I think I Homeward Bone just because I want to reset the enemy's positions after using Red Tear Stone. And in this, Homeward Boning doesn't actually change your health. It doesn't give you full health again, so you can still keep the Red Tear Stone ring. And now the guy that was on the bridge is actually back in his default position, so when we were wasting time on the ladder trying to drop down, we didn't you know, do it for nothing and then have him catch up to us and kill us. So we just kill those other guys really quickly. This dude, we dip into the door again with the Lord ring on, or the King ring. Because sorry, I think it's called a King's door. I think I said Lord door by accident. So yeah, it's a King's door. And now, same as Aldea's Keep, we just wait for it to open, and then we kind of just maneuver around him. He will not chase you into this area or kill you. He just blocks this door, basically. Don't hit the bonfire, you don't need to. And then we are just going to Giant Lord. And basically, Forlorn will invade in that area while the door is opening. So while you're waiting for it to open, just be ready for Forlorn to invade and be ready to run to the Last Giant fog gate. That's basically the move there. Here in the beginning, we're just waiting for these giants to kill off some of the guys and for them to take some damage. And you'll see the first one takes a giant hit from the catapult. And sometimes they just die naturally, but a lot of the time you have to assist the other people that are battling them and kill them off yourself with some arrows. So that's why we have the dark arrows. They're very good. You can also poison these giants too. But the backup plan is if they get too close to you and they pin you in this corner, Homeward Bone if you sense that that's going to happen, because that's the best way you can handle it. And you can do that as many times as you need to, and there's no point in rushing it on this because you're almost there. So if they ever pin you in this corner, there's no way you can finish them off. You don't really want to try to maneuver them. They have gigantic hitboxes and they're very difficult to deal with. So maybe if it was DS3 or like DS1, but not in DS2 though. So this guy's making his way over here. He takes some big damage, and I know now that I have an advantage to just finish him with arrows. So we're going to do that. I hit him with poison arrows to start ticking him, and then we switch back to dark, and the catapult finishes him off with all the stuff. And then basically this Keyblade right here is what you get from I think Demon of Song when you kill Demon of Song. We're going to use this on Giant Lord instead of the Rapier. Reason for that is that it has a horizontal moveset, so it's going to actually hit his legs a little bit easier, and the weapon doesn't need to be upgraded. It just does decent damage. It can't actually be upgraded. It just does a set amount of damage that scales with your stats, I think. But either way, though, it's good enough. We're going to buff it with the gold pine resin here. We're going to wait for that last catapult to explode, and then right after that, go in, roll right on his first attack. He's always going to do the overhead attack on the first one. He stomps a lot, and he does try to do these backhand swipe attacks. The camera is the biggest problem in this fight. So you're going to want to try to get him in an area where he's turning around and pivoting into more of an open space if you can, but not so far that he goes into where the catapult is. And you'll see actually on this interaction here. So whenever he does this weird pause where he's kind of moving his upper body, you can also look up with the camera if it helps. But when he does this thing right here where he's kind of twisting a little bit and then he does the spin, you want to run through his legs right before he does that. You don't have to dodge even, but I do just in case. That's like a back punish attack that he does from you being behind him. I would never try to be in front of him for too long. There's another attack he does that doesn't really look like anything because you can only see his hand moving, and he's very tall, so it's hard to see that sometimes. And we're just trying to hit his legs in between that and not get too greedy. It's a very, very simple boss, but you can die to some really ridiculous things just because the camera angles. Now we're on to the hardest boss of the entire run. We're going to be Homeward Boning from here, I think. Because we don't have that other bonfire active and we don't want to really risk that guy hitting us or anything, so we're just going to go back to this one. And then we're going to Drangleic Castle. once again. So we're going to the bonfire that we activated when we first made it to the castle. Over by where those stone guys are in the room with the doors that activate with souls. But we're going the opposite way this time. We're going to have the rapier back, so we can use that on Nishandra, I believe. And for Throne Watcher and Defender, most of the fight is done with the bow. It's the safest way to do it. I highly recommend that. I would say for this guy right here, kill him just in case while you're trying to set up your health for Red Tearstone. Having the key to the embedded on with all the armor increases your equip load, so it's going to make you reduce your damage with the falls a lot faster. I would just say make the character really heavy when you're dropping down here to speed it up. Yeah, we're going to fast forward this a little bit. So we have the RTSR set up. Actually, this part's kind of important too. So when you have the ring on, the King's Ring for the door, these guys won't actually kill you. But if you don't have them on, they'll activate. So if you just run right in the center of them and you just run right up to the door, you're 100% safe to get in there. We get all of our armor off now. We switch off the key to the embedded. We have the bow on the offhand, so we can use it for Throne Watcher and Defender. And then this is just a really long run through the last area, basically. Now we're at the Fog Gate with movie magic. We're going to use, I guess, the Bright Bug that we have left over, because Throne Watcher and Defender is the hardest boss left in the game. And Nishandra is much easier, so we wouldn't want to waste the Bright Bug on her. And I'm just kind of getting my mind prepped for doing this because this fight's a little bit annoying. So we're stalling here for a second, and then I'm going to use it. And we're going in. We have dark arrows ready for Throne Watcher and Defender. I do believe lightning arrows could be better for this, but I think I just still have the dark arrows on because why not? Not a crazy difference when you have this much damage, but just I think lightning arrows are a little bit better for this fight overall. And poison will actually work on it too. That does help a little bit. So we're kind of circling around them. We're keeping the focus on whichever one is the threat, really. But you'll see I actually am targeted on Watcher a lot more on this because Watcher is much more dangerous than Defender. So we're kind of just making a circle. We got to make sure we don't go too far back where we fall off the map either, because there's just a giant pit of gravity around everything. She'll kind of jump in with these poke attacks and these swipes. There's a 3-hit combo with a spin on it too. So if she ever does that backhand and then that other swing, she can do another attack as well. So you're always going to want to anticipate that. And the goal here is to keep them from healing each other. So once she gets to about half health, she'll buff her weapon, and then we're going to keep lowering her health a little bit more. I believe because this is an SL1, there's not as much stress on trying to even level or knock their health down evenly. I think that on this one you can kill her off pretty quickly and then go for him because we have so much more damage. So we're just kind of circling around. Sometimes she'll shoot a projectile at you, so always be ready for that. The jump attacks, they'll usually connect if you're not rolling, unless you have a crazy amount of space. Now, I'd say the better way of doing this fight is a combination of locking on and locking off by pivoting the character the opposite direction of where they're going, because you actually have a easier time of spacing everything. You can actually kind of just outspace by running or just jogging. So let's see. So she's dead now. We're just taking shots carefully in between, and then we switch back to the rapier for Defender. I'm trying to actually strafe around the side with a shield, so I'm not on the more dominant side of his hitbox where the sword is. Keeps it a little bit safer. I think Otstarver recommended that to me as well. And he tries to back up to heal her, and now we basically just go nuts. We do a bunch of R1s. We kill him right before he heals her. That's a super tight timing, so if I want to make it a bit easier for me, I could have hit him with some arrows beforehand, but that's the fight. Wasn't too bad. But yeah, you just want to get him as he's healing her. And then we're going to rebuff with gold pine resin before Nishandra. We have the bow in the offhand. You'll notice we switched that after the fight was over because we have some time in between the next fight. And we're shooting her with dark arrows. Again, lightning would actually be a lot better for Nishandra because she's actually, I think she's more resistant to dark, but because we have the bow on the offhand, our weapon's still buffed, so we can switch it back out really quickly, and then as she comes up to us, we can hit her. She does series of like triple swings, and then she has like this overhead as well. This third swing right here, see how delayed it is? She'll actually just do like a mix-up where she doesn't do that sometimes. There's also an AoE explosion, and there's a laser beam as well. And she can spawn these little orbs that will basically hit you if you just get within 5 feet of them. So we have to be very careful with the area that we're actually existing in. So we're staying very tight to her. You don't want to go too far away. So if we do go far away, you notice I go to the area where there is no orbs, because that's our only option basically. You don't have to actually touch an orb to get hit. You can just be like literally around the area of it. She's spawning more of them, so we're running really far away now. Those ones are going to disappear. And she's going to have new ones. And we have all this open space now to take the bow back out and shoot her. When you're at a distance and she does the laser, you can just strafe it. But there's actually a secondary attack for the laser where it's a sweep, and you're going to have to roll it as it passes through you. And again, there's going to be much better examples of that in the SL1 run that I'll link. But here we're just kind of anticipating that triple combo, not punishing if she only does 2 attacks, unless we know it's 100% safe. And that is the run. So at this point, if there's any more confusion about any of the bosses, or you know, again, if you want to know how to deal with certain attacks, I've been mentioning quite a bit throughout the video. The SL1 hitless video of this game that will be linked will have way better examples of stuff that's more in depth with the combat of the boss fights if you need extra references. Some of the work you're going to have to put in yourself. I can't tell you enough to get you good at it just by mentioning things. You're going to have to practice quite a bit. And again, I do recommend if you do practice to use the save file organizer that'll be linked in the description. And you can use the hit counter as well that's linked if you need to. And yeah, basically, that's the any percent for DS2. It's one of the easiest runs, I think, for hitless next to Bloodborne, but it's very tedious, and it does have a lot of tactics in it that have to be done pretty strictly. And again, the game is the difficult part about it, I find, is more of controlling the character and like making things happen the way you want them to. It doesn't work as well as the other games. So with that being said, hopefully that was a really good example. Let me know in terms of feedback if I could improve anything with it. I know that there's ads on the YouTube playlist I was using. I didn't expect that, so I wanted to keep it royalty free. But yeah, and thank you for everybody that's watching the stream that was patient enough, because I didn't read chat during this whole thing either. Next guide I'll be doing is going to be Sekiro, and if you haven't watched the stream before, I would recommend coming over to the stream, which will be linked in the description, and watch me on Twitch. We're going to be actually doing speedruns on DS3 until May, as well as Resident Evil 3 when that comes out, the remake, followed by an all boss no damage run of this game, DS2, which has never been done before, so that'll be pretty cool. That means no damage from any source, not to be confused with hitless, which is different. But yeah, I guess now I can read chat. Gameland redeemed a story. Oh boy. Okay, I'll tell a story. Also, we're gonna read all the alerts too. Let me go back through those, so I'll close this up.